welcome to the Takarazuka Review Fan Podcast, a podcast where Takarazuka fans from around the world get together to talk, discuss, and flail about Takarazuka. My name is Heidi. I'm going to be your host today, and with me is Luella. Hello, Luella.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good. Like, the Tokyo morning is, being lovely and greeting me with sunshine. So, all good.
Nice. It's a little rainy, cloudy evening in Philadelphia. So nice. It was a nice day though. So today we are going to be talking about the recently-ish closed Hanagumi show Casanova, which was also Yuki-chan Senna Ayase's Taidon show.
Yeah.
So before we do that, we're going to talk about our happy things, and then we'll talk a little bit about some news, and then we'll do the show, and then we'll talk also a little bit about do a little overview of Yuki's career. So Wella, what's your happy thing?
So my happy thing is that we are going to get a Blu-ray of Kiki's recent lead show. It's called Gunto in Japanese, Die Räuber in German, and The Robbers in English.
Before we started recording, Lala was trying to tell me what this was, and I didn't understand it because I didn't know which language she was referring to. So I was like, wait, what is that? But yes, yay! Exciting. We were going to get that on Blu-ray. I'm loving this trend of small theater shows on Blu-ray. That's exciting.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that because my favorite girl, Kiho Kanata, Squirrel Pants, is one of the major roles in the show, in my opinion anyway. Not according to the program, because she is not in a character photograph, but to me she's like the driving force of the show. Nothing would happen without her character, and she's like a baddie, the big baddie. And I thought that like when the otome came out, she was gonna like update her profile to be like, oh my god, I love playing this character. The otome came out, she did not change it to that character. She changed a bunch of other things, but she did not add that character. So I'm like, okay, she clearly does not like playing baddies, but I loved it. Oops.
What? She didn't like playing a villain? I feel like villains are more fun sometimes.
Right? See, I would have thought that, like, I love a delightful villain, but it seemed that wasn't, like, it was, she was great at it. She did a fantastic job, and it was, like, excellent in every single way, but I think she probably likes being a pure being.
That's okay. She might get sick of it later. What Ken is she again?
She is Ken 7 now, so this is her last year of Shingo's. Yeah.
Oh. So it's exciting.
Well, I'm hoping for good things this year. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
I'm excited to see what she gets up to. See if she stays with Kiki the whole time, like she has been. I think they've been in like everything together now.
Yeah, like when Kiki switched to Sorogumi, I was like, oh my god, I hope she like adopts Yuzu-chan. And it kind of seems like she inadvertently has somehow, because Lisa has been in everything she's been in as well, so they're continuing that streak for now at least. So I guess we'll see with the split that's coming soon, because we don't know the cast list for that yet, but
no.
So
I've actually forgotten what the show opposite the tour is supposed to be.
Isn't it?
Is it Bao Hall?
Yeah, with Rurukaze. So Rurukaze
that's
Moeko.
That's right. Moeko.
She's, that's exciting. She's getting a lead in a Bao Hall.
That's right.
Looking forward to that.
Yay! Congrats, Moeko!
Yay! It's going to be amazing because, I mean, her singing voice is just stellar. So, I mean, of course, it's going to be fantastic. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Excited. Cool.
Right.
Well,
What's your happy thing?
my happy thing, it's a little outdated, but not for people listening to the podcast because it's been a while since I've been on the podcast. But my happy thing was that my partner Al and I got to go to Japan last month in April to see Casanova. We did manage to go down and see Tsukigumi as well for the first time, which was exciting. We took a night bus down, and so we were there in Mura for literally one day, and then we came back, which was a nightmare. I do not recommend doing it that way. But we got to see Tsukigumi, we got to see Miyururi in her last show, which was fun. But more importantly, we got to see Yuki-chan Ayase before she retires, and I'm so happy we got to see Casanova. It was such a cool show, which we will talk about in greater depth for sure. So yeah, and we hadn't been, our last time going was in 2017 for Sante, and so it's been a while since we went, and we were really, really happy to go, even though it was a pretty short trip. So but yeah, so that was exciting. So yay.
Oh, so you guys haven't seen Beautiful Garden? Or have you seen
I haven't.
DVD or something?
I have not seen Beautiful Garden. It's the only Hanagumi Grand Theater show that I have not seen for Mirio's run, actually. Just haven't gotten around to it, I guess.
No, I understand that. Like,
yeah.
That's okay.
As a little side cap, I guess I just wasn't that interested in Messiah, especially since it looked so similar in many aesthetic ways to Yamataikoku, and I was just like, not about that. So it just hasn't manifested. We haven't bought any new DVDs in ages, so
I guess I will be holding a spiel about Beautiful Garden later then. I really like it. Like, I think it's great.
Yeah. No, we haven't seen Beautiful Garden yet either, but it just hasn't happened. So
right.
Okay, we're gonna do a quick little news recap. I can't remember when the last episode was, but I think it was a few months ago. And I know probably most people get their news from other places, hopefully, other than the podcast. If you don't, that's a really bad way to keep up with it. But anyway, we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the more notable announcements. We've mostly just Top Star related announcements. So recently... I'm not sure how to... Okay. Anyway, if you don't know that Benny, Kurena Yuzuru, and Kisaki Airi are retiring yet, I guess you've been under a rock. But so they announced their retirement months ago with their next Grand Theater show. And then recently, Rei Makoto was named... She's going to be the next Top Star, as I'm sure to no one's surprise, but it's still very exciting.
Yes.
Koto is so wonderful. And her partner is going to be Maisore Hitomi, who is currently in Hanagumi and will be transferring, I believe, after the upcoming small theater shows.
Well,
or is she? I can't remember.
Don't know.
She hasn't transferred yet.
Well, they said goodbye to her at the Sayonara show of...
did they? Well, I mean, they did for Kiki and Sante, and she still had one more small theater left. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could do that.
So, I don't know.
She's going to
I can't remember.
In Chinatsu's dinner show.
Right.
And... I mean, Takawiki's very quick with everything, so, like, she's already listed as being in Hoshigumi on Takawiki.
Oh, is she? Oh, maybe I didn't pay close enough attention to her transfer thing, so maybe she's already transferred, I don't know. Anyway, Maisori Hitomi, she's 102nd, she was top of her class, just like Koto, so they're probably going to be a pretty dangerous pair, if I had to say, so... Yay! Congrats, Koto.
Woo.
You had a very fun connection or note.
Oh yes.
I
forgot about that for a second. So this surely means that the first new top star of the new era, which is called Reiwa, is going to be Rei Makoto. So, I mean, what a beginning to Reiwa, the new era. It's just perfect, isn't it? I'm sure they planned this.
I like that.
They had to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's very cute. And I also saw on Twitter a little cute thing that I liked. In Japan, if you go and watch a film, before the film starts, they've got like this little don't like record anything, la 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 thing, like before the film starts. And they've got like this mascot thing that has a head that's like this flashing light. And then they've also got this character that is basically the head is a camera. And the Twitter, or the tweet basically was the picture of Koto's up-and-coming show. Koto's upcoming show. Like the poster, because she has like this pose that's exactly like the pose that the camera makes, like with the hands and everything. So they put them like next to each other. It looks really funny. So
I think I did see that, but I didn't know what I was looking at. It's really funny.
And I think it also says like "no more" on it, which is to stop you
yes.
from like filming the film.
Yeah, I did see that, but again, I didn't have any. I've never been to a movie in Japan, so I didn't know what that was referencing. Oh, that's funny.
So I just thought that was really cute, really funny and cute. So if I can find that tweet, I'll link to it from the show notes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
Hey.
So for our last bit of news, which is also directly related to our podcast topic. The much anticipated and much speculated about, in which many of us were very wrong many times over. Asumi Rio has finally, inevitably, announced her retirement. Which I am very sad about. But it's the next Korean theater show for Hanagumi. So I think we're getting a 1-2 double tied-on punch this coming summer and fall between Benny and Mirio retiring. And she, if I remember correctly, she's either the longest or the second longest Hanagumi top star, or will be, and she's definitely up there with some of the longer running top stars. I think she misses Chie Yuzuka Rei by like half a year or something like that.
Yeah, it's not much. Really not much.
So she's been around a long time. And very... It's obviously people like if come and go, they eventually go, but she's definitely stayed longer than a lot of people recently. And I'm sad that she'll be leaving. Finally.
I mean, I was not anticipating her to announce her retirement at that point because Hanayuki had just been announced as the new top musume. So obviously Hanayuki is going to be the top musume with Mirio for one show, and then like she's going to be with the next top star, I guess, because it wouldn't be fair to her to just be like, hey, you get to be top musume for one show and then we're kicking you out. It's like, no, that's not gonna happen.
No, I don't think that'll happen, but it is a little interesting that they've decided to just do one like in Mirio's tied on for one. But I think I was speaking with someone a while back or when we were in Japan about, I think we had a discussion about how like Hanagumi pretty much never does the like vacancy, or very rarely does. So I don't know like what the specific reasoning behind it was. Maybe it's a little bit of boot camp for Hanayuki. But it'll be interesting to see as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that Kare is going to be the next top star for Hanagumi. I know that there was a time when I wouldn't have said that, but today, I will happily say that I want that to happen.
I would be very surprised if they didn't make her. I feel like that's kind of where everything is leading, especially with all of the moving around of everybody else. For example, Chinatsu moving to back to Tsukigumi after 5 years with Hanagumi.
Yeah.
I'm extremely sad to lose her. So sad about that. At least she's not retiring, but I'm still sad to lose her from Hanagumi because I've really grown to love her a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be surprised if they sandwiched someone in between Rei and Mirio at this point. So yeah. So I have a lot of feelings about where Hanagumi is going.
Like we're losing so many people we lost so many people with Casanova, and I don't know how many people will go with Meteor. Like, I'm really scared. I hope we can keep Seto Kazuya because she feels like, I don't know, a force of nature, and I just love seeing her in shows, and I want to keep on seeing her in shows, and I think it would be good to keep her with Kare, because I feel like if we lose too many people, because a lot of people in Hanagumi haven't really been, pushed, so it's going to be like, who are we going to have for all of these roles now, So I think we need to keep a couple of people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna save this for later, but like part of the reason why I don't know why I'm really sad about Mirio going is because when Al and I first became like really involved in Takarazuka and became like fans was with her Ohirome Koen with Elizabeth. That was, for me, that was the very first Takarazuka show that I had ever seen. It was our first trip to Japan, and our friend got us tickets. And I was like in tears during the parade. I was just so impressed. And so like, but the Hanagumi hasn't really changed that much over these past like 5-6 years. And until like recently, like all of a sudden it's changing. Like, of course, we've had some retirements and everything else of some prominent people and things like that, but there's not been like a big shift. And until they moved Kiki out, but even then there wasn't really any forward shift, and you still had this really top tier level of we had Mirio, Kiki, and then Rei, and then you had our brobantes, as I like to call them, so like Akira, Chinatsu, and Mighty, and that kind of filled out like that top otokoyaku level, and then we still also had a lot of really strong musumeyaku, so like even when it was Kano Mario and it was Kano-chan as top, then you had Yuki, and you had Bei-chan, and
Shirokimi,
and Julia, and Shirokimi, and there's like so many like really strong people who have kind of taken up a lot of those roles, but now like 80% of them are going to be gone, it feels like. So like we're losing Bei-chan, and we lost Julia, and some other like and then Chinatsu's being moved out, and Mirio's going, like all these people are just like all of a sudden like the floodgates have opened and everybody's just departing.
Yeah, and
so
like one of the up and coming Hanagumis was Aren Toma as well, and she retired due to an injury. So that was also a bit of a blow. It
just feels like they didn't really backfill, like they haven't committed to anybody. And so it's like, even if assuming Rei does become top star, like I couldn't tell you who's gonna step into that Nibante role. Like, I have no idea, and even they just don't seem to have any idea as well, because with the upcoming Bao Hall, it's supposed to be Tsukasa
Yeah.
and Akachan,
Mhm.
Yaki Hikari, but then they put Mighty in the middle of the poster, and she's just a guest star. So
Right.
it's like, don't you have confidence in your younger Seito? Like, come on.
Well, like
So.
it's apparently like a thing. I heard that like fan clubs have been saying like, so if you've applied for the Mighty Week for this Bauhaus, you should reconsider. You should try applying for a different week because we'll
Oh
get
my
you a ticket
gosh.
for a different week. But Mighty Week,
Who knows about the Mighty Week? Oh my god.
So
I don't know if this means we're gonna have a lot of transfers, or I don't know. I have no
well,
idea.
the thing is, we probably have a whole bunch of super talented younger Hanagumi
Yeah.
peeps. We just don't know about it.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's a
true.
thing.
Yeah, no, like we totally have tons, and like there's so much talent in Hanagumi, and that's what I've always been so impressed with. Not to say that there isn't talent in the other troops. Like, of course, everyone's got like their their choice people and everything else. But like Hanagumi is like our troop. We've known. I like been sticking with them for so long, so I like know so many people now. And yeah, it's just. And we'll talk about this later in Casanova. There's this part where there are these 3 like baby soloists, and they're all so good.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa, it was so good. And
Yes.
but it's just like, why won't you like just shuffle everybody up?
Right.
Now you've got a big vacuum, which is like it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I mean, I'm hoping for good things for all of the people I love, but I want Kazumi Shaw to sing a lot more. And Haryu Mitsuki, I think her name is. I keep forgetting because it's Hiryu Tsukasa. So then when I say
Haryu Mitsuki,
I'm like, am I saying it right?
I love her.
She's so great. Like her singing voice, boom, power.
Oh god, she's so good.
Tatsuki Miyo was one of those 3 babies who sang delightfully. Like she's so good. And Otto Kurisu, who does the Étoile for Casanova, is also amazing.
I love
her. I mean,
her.
we've got a lot of vocal power in Hanagumi still.
Yeah.
So they're gonna. I hope that they're gonna like just push them forward, so that they get to do more. Because even though Kazumi Sho has like this amazing voice, she doesn't always get to do a lot. So I hope that we get more.
She's a great actress too. We can talk more about her when we actually hit Casanova. But oh my gosh. So yeah. Anyway, we don't know what's happening with Hanagumi, but I'm not like worried per se because I think everybody is more than capable. But I'm slightly worried in the sense that like I just don't know what's gonna happen. So yes, but like good luck to everybody, and we'll probably be back in Japan for Miriam's Taidan. Yeah, so looking forward to that. So Casanova, we're gonna do a little recap.
Yes.
Lella's gonna mostly do the recap, but I'm gonna help. And we're gonna talk about some of the different people, different roles, and everything else, and then we'll do again a little bit of overview for Yuki-chan and her career, since she's now retired, and as far as I know, no sign of an Instagram yet. I don't know if that's her thing, but
I haven't seen one either. I had like a whisper that she might, possibly, maybe have a concert coming up. But I don't. Like, I think that's just something that they are thinking about. So I don't know. But if she does, I will go.
Yes.
Yuki-chan, please have a concert. I'll be there. I love you.
Send Lella tickets.
Please.
Okay, so Casanova.
Hey,
Casanova.
so the Casanova, right?
Such a jam. It's such a jam. I don't know if you haven't seen it yet. You need to see this immediately. Like it's so good.
It's so good.
It's so fun.
Right. So
I was having the song stuck in my head like on repeat.
It's like it's an earworm. Like it'll get you. But
all of them.
Yeah, the soundtrack is amazing. Like the first time I watched it, I was like, because people had hyped it up a little bit, so I was like, am I gonna like it? And then I was sitting there and I was like, maybe not. And then like the second time I watched it, I was like, yes, I'm here for this. I'm gonna buy the CD. So, so it really,
we
it
won't
does
talk
get
about
you
the first
even...
time we watched.
Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about it?
I don't really want to because I don't want people to know my shame. But now everybody's going to be like, oh, what happened? So long story short, my friends, in America, we don't go by 24-hour time. We have AM and PM. So we have 1 a.m. and 1 p.m. And I, even though I've been to Japan many times and I was there for like several months during a study abroad, and I am keenly aware of the fact that they use 24-hour time in Japan. When I was checking the times for our tickets for the shows that we were going to see, I read 13:30, which is 1:30 p.m. Just spoiler alert, it's 1:30 p.m. So, but I read 13:30, and I even knew I was reading 24-hour time at the time. Now, I'm a super, super anxious traveler sometimes, so, like, when I read things, I still, like, I try to pay really attention, knowing that I, like, forget things and mess them up. But this one didn't stick correctly. I was convinced that it was a 3:30 start time. And the way that Takarazuka shows are structured is that the first act is an hour and a half long, and then there's, give or take, maybe by a few minutes, but in general it's about an hour and a half long. And then there's a half an hour intermission. So when your show starts at 1:30, at 3:30 the second act will start. So Al and I walk up to the theater, we pick up our tickets, we walk in, and we go to our seats, and long story short, we walked in at intermission instead of at the beginning. Now, I should have realized immediately when she said dainimaku, like omatase dainimaku, blah blah blah. And I kind of heard that and I was like, dainimaku, second act? Wait, what? And then like it starts, but it kind of starts like, it seems like it could be the opening, and we're going, and I'm like, dang, this is moving really fast, because like I read the little like synopsis in the program in English, and sometimes they start like right at the very beginning, and then you like they just leave you hanging for like the last second act or whatever. So I was like, okay, like this tracks, this makes sense with what they told me I was going to be seeing. But then I'm like, but what are they gonna do in Act 2? And then the kick line comes out, and I was like, oh. Wow, this is super embarrassing. So we saw Casanova 3.5 times. Total. Moral of the story, read your ticket times much more closely than I did. So, to be fair, it's the first time we've ever done that.
But, like, to be honest, I think it's better to walk in the intermission, like, having missed the first act, than it would be to go to the first act and then not come back.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Because then it's, you know, you tried. You tried to come and see the show.
Right. Like, you made an effort, as opposed to, like, you gave up halfway through, or whatever. So.
Like, I mean, I'm sure there can be reasons for not coming back for the second act. Like, you know, if you had a heart attack, or a sudden, like, you have a peanut allergy and you ate a peanut.
You're going to go into anaphylactic shock.
Yes,
you need to go to the hospital.
Those are all acceptable reasons for not coming back for the second act. Yeah, but they all have to involve death. If you're not dying, you're going back to see that second act. You're seeing the second half if you're not dying.
If I have to sit through an hour and a half Yamadaikoku 5 times just to see Sante. You can sit through whatever else that you don't like.
Sure, right? So
anyway.
Yes.
so anyway, that was my shame.
We were gonna mention the plot of the show. Yes.
Oh yes, let's do that.
Let's do that. Okay.
Let's do that.
So the show opens with Hana no Julia coming out, and she is one of Casanova's lovers, and she's going to meet Casanova. And then instead of Casanova coming out, suddenly it's Kare. Kare comes out, and she's like, oh, gasp! And Kare is basically saying, you're not going to see Casanova again because Casanova is being put to trial. And basically all of the men of Venice have gotten really tired of Casanova charming all of their wives and daughters and aunties and everyone, really.
And everybody.
And so they put Casanova to trial and put him in prison for being a lovely, lovely man. And and then he is helped to escape from prison. Well, in prison, he meets Mighty's character, but I've forgotten the name just now.
Marino Barubi. Father Marino Barubi, who's like an ex-priest.
Ah, right. He is a bit sleazy.
He is, yeah. I think that's why he's in jail too.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, yes. Yeah.
So he is kind of in prison for the same reason as Casanova, but he's obviously not as Casanova-y as Casanova. One of the jokes being that so he's trying to like buff himself up. He's trying to be like the cool dude. When Casanova comes into prison, he's like, oh, I've been here for 4 years, this is my place. He says Ore-sama about himself, which is like really showing off his status kind of thing. And then, so he tells Casanova about why he's there. He's like, oh yeah, like I had this romance with 3 women, like, and they just kept coming in kind of thing. And then he asks Casanova, why are you here? And he's like, oh, I had, basically the same thing, but, like 1,000 girlfriends. And then he's like, what are you, some kind of Casanova? And he's like, that's me.
Actually, yes. Surprised. And then Miri goes into, like, the opening, like, theme song, which is the biggest jam. It's so catchy. I love it so much.
Yes.
And it's just so wonderfully staged. The music is by I'm gonna say this wrong, I'm sorry, Dove Adia, who also I believe did the music for King Arthur, Legend of Arthur, which was Tamikichi's small theater show, her first top star show, actually, which is another one that I love because of the music. And I think he did a couple other things, and someone else would know what. But yeah, I absolutely love the music. I know some people kind of complained that it was really kind of synth heavy, a little more like poppy, but I kind of liked that aesthetic. There were
really
some
creative.
like recorded vocals. Yeah. There were some like kind of recorded vocals that the actresses like had pre-recorded to harmonize with themselves, as opposed to just doing like someone else singing in like the black box. And it didn't bother me too much. I mean, I don't really know why they couldn't have done the like live stage singing, but it didn't really detract from my enjoyment of the music at all.
No,
so,
same.
Yeah. But,
I guess it gets a bit of an echoier feel to it. Like it does sound a little bit different. So when Kare does that, like sings with her own voice, like echoing in the background, it feels more, I phantom-like, a bit more ghost-like. So it emphasizes that like aspect of that particular song, and there's a song where Mirio is being a medium, like Casanova pretends to be a medium, and there is a bit where she's extra medium-like, and like her own voice is like echoed over, and I think she actually lip syncs for that bit.
She does. Yeah.
So I mean, like there's purpose for it. Like there's a point. So
yeah,
I'm totally fine with that. Yeah.
So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. So Casanova gets thrown in jail because he's a womanizer for like, isn't it like 667 years or something like that?
It's something ridiculous like that. And then he escapes with like because of a huge plate of carbonara. And you'll see how that happens when you watch the show.
It's pretty great.
But basically, like, Mighty decides to join Casanova because he's like, oh my god, wow, you're an excellent womanizer, and I want to like be your. He calls him Danna, which is like master, kind of.
Master, like his, like, yeah.
So he just decides that he wants to join Casanova. So together they escape. At this point, we find out more about Kare's relationship, right? With
I think we meet Yuki first before Casanova escapes.
Okay.
Right. So so Yuki-chan, her character is Beatrice, and she's like the daughter of the mayor?
The governor, I think.
The governor?
Well,
so like
isn't the governor her uncle?
Yeah, that's what I thought I heard too. And then it was like, then they're like, oh, you're his daughter. I don't know. She's the heir to like a government official.
So they kind of call her like the daughter of Venice or something almost, I think. So that's because she's the governor's niece then. So
right. Oh, okay.
So
she's like been away like.
Well, she's coming to Venice, and she's like, oh my god, I'm going to start a new life, and everything's wonderful, and buongiorno, and everything is like beautiful. And then she comes to Venice, and then immediately she is told that, well, you are now like a noblewoman, so you're going to get married off to whomever we fancy, basically. And she's like, sayonara to my new life, like a goodbye new life that never happened. And it's like the matching of those two songs together is just like so fantastic. Just comedic timing.
Yeah, so she's they're attempting to marry her off to Akira Setokazuya, who's playing another nobleman named Constantine.
Yes. I think Constantine isn't of Venice. I think Constantine is of like mainland type, like Italy.
Oh. I see.
Kind of thing, and they want to like improve the bonds between Venice and like other towns.
Oh, I see.
I think that's what's happening, but I'm not sure. I could be completely wrong.
They don't give much. They just say a rich man of the upper class.
Yeah.
Of his description. So, and I couldn't quite catch very many details about who he was when I was seeing the show, but that would make sense.
But I mean, he seems like a complete bean, and I love him anyway, so it's all right. But I guess
he's like in cahoots with Rei, who's a little bit who is the
like villain,
head inquisitor for political offenses. Yes. Is what Takawiki calls him. Antonio Condumer de Pietro, which I'm sure I also said wrong. I'm sorry. And he, so he's kind of like, it's really funny that they use the word inquisitor, but because that makes me think of Spanish Inquisition. I think they like mentioned something about this here, but this is set in Italy and doesn't have really much to do with this is the Venetian Inquisition.
I think the thing is just that Kare is really powerful. I think that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, he's like kind of like
Head of
a
police.
prosecutor.
Yeah.
I feel almost in that way, in that sense. So he's like, yeah, out to like punish bad guys, I guess.
But he's kind of
Except,
above the law, even in a sense.
yeah,
Like he's above the governor when it actually gets down to it. He's above the governor. So,
right, because doesn't he like sort of temporarily depose?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because was it Yuki's? And what was he like? He was like a bishop or something. I didn't quite catch his role.
Yeah.
But he like basically Yuki convinces God, I can't even remember the character's name. Yuki convinces him to allow her to marry who she wants, and he goes to
Oh wait, no, that is her
like,
uncle.
is that her uncle?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
she
uncle.
like convinces.
So the
her
bishop
uncle.
is played by Natsumi Yo. Not a bishop, sorry.
Oh, that's right.
A count, yeah.
A count concealing his. I thought he was the Pope.
Some sort of religious figure, because
Spoilers.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. We should go back to.
I'm sorry. This is like the worst recap of the history of anything.
Beatrice is getting married off, and then we meet Antonio, so Kare's character, and his wife, and it's Chinatsu, and Chinatsu enters with her hand up on the wall behind her, just casually. Just completely stretched up out there. It's like, oh my god, what an entrance. Like, Chinatsu cannot make an entrance without giving it, like, her all. So...
It's fine, Chinatsu, it's fine.
Yes, and basically, so Chinatsu's character and Kare, like, they are married and they love each other, but they have, like, this weird kind of relationship going. And basically, this is what I've gotten out of the thing. Chinatsu's character loves beautiful things, and she has like this little dungeon where she has a stuffed tiger and a stuffed bear and some like there's a skeleton, and she's got a chair in there. Like, I don't know what she does in there, but like she's also got her like friendly cats in there. Anyway, she says she wants Casanova for her dungeon, right?
Because he's beautiful. She just wants him.
So basically, she wants to stuff Casanova and put him in the corner of her dungeon.
Yep.
That's what she wants.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so weird.
So basically the players are Mirio's Casanova, gets thrown in jail for being a huge womanizer, meets Mighty, and then like Yuki's out here being like, brand new life, blah blah blah, except that she hates men like Casanova. So when Casanova escapes, they happen to meet, and she's like, hate that Casanova guy, but she's like slowly falling in love with Casanova and not knowing that he's Casanova, right? Yeah. And so meanwhile you've also got like Rei, Holmduer, we're just gonna call him Antonio.
Yep.
So Antonio is trying to track down Casanova because Casanova has escaped. It's unclear if he's doing it specifically for his wife, for Chiratsu, because that's what she wants, or if he's doing it because Casanova is technically an escaped criminal. It's a little unclear.
In the beginning, it's both.
It's
but
both.
then Chinatsu basically kidnaps Hanano Juria, who is Antonio's former girlfriend, and she's like, you better give me Casanova if you want her back. But the thing is that she doesn't actually want Casanova at that point. She just wants to test her husband. And when he says, fine, I'll get you Casanova, you just wait, she's like, well, he failed the test. And then she's like really mad at Julia. She's like, he picked you over me. And then she sings a whole song about it.
Yeah, it's a really good song. It's a great song.
Yeah.
So and then Antonio, Rei's character, and Constantine, Akira are like kind of in cahoots. I don't particularly understand why, but they I think they just kind of decide that Constantine's gonna marry Beatrice, and that's just gonna just for whatever reason, for their
Yeah.
own machinations.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's kind of where it is. So Mirio and Mighty escape, and they happen to meet Beatrice and her kind of her lady in waiting,
Yeah.
who is Daniela, who is played by Bei-chan, Osaki Ayaka,
Yeah.
her lady in waiting, and they're kind of like the four like all together, and they. Is it Mirio Casanova is trying to hide from Antonio's henchmen, correct?
Yes.
And ends up there's this really great chase scene, and then ends up in Beatrice's, Yuki-chan's carriage, essentially. And then they rap.
So Beatrice is told by her uncle that she can't leave the house. She has to stay in the house. But there is a matsuri going on. Like there's a bit of, what is that called?
Like a masked, what's it called? Like a masked ball? No,
that happens
There's
later.
a word for it.
Matsuri.
It just flew out of my head. What is it's carnival?
Yeah.
It's not carnival. Yeah, it's carnival, yeah.
So there is is it actually called a carnival?
I don't know if it's the carnival or if it's just carnival.
Or fun times happening in the city, and she wants to go. She's never been to one before. She wants to go. So she says to Daniela, "Please, can't I go? Like nobody's going to be here to check if I'm here." And Daniela's like, "Well, we can be in the carriage." Okay, well,
yeah.
we can't leave the carriage.
That's the same thing,
and
right?
Then obviously, she leaves the carriage.
Right.
And then Daniela's trying to get her back into the carriage. And when she finally gets her back into the carriage, Mighty appears. And Yuki's like, "Oh my god, you look exactly like how I think Casanova would look like, because I've had him described, so I'm going to punch you in the face."
Yeah.
And then Mirio turns up, and Yuki's like, "This is Casanova." And she's like, No, Casanova wouldn't look like that. Like that's obviously not Casanova. It's like, okay. And then basically Mighty and Mirio are allowed to stay in the carriage with them because they're like, "Oh hey, we're looking for Casanova."
Yeah, that's right.
And then they have the rap song, which is about like how Yuki wants to capture Casanova kind of thing, because he is the enemy of women.
Yeah.
And then she ends up saying something like, "I'm going to kill him." And Mirio's like, "No, everybody has a right to life." And then Yuki falls in love with him because it's like, "Wow, that's something Voltaire said, and like freedom, and wow, you're nothing like Casanova, I love you." It's like, we are meant to be kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then she...
Oh yeah, doesn't she like say like, "Let's get married" or whatever?
That happens later. But she's,
is it later?
So,
oh my god.
So
that's right.
Also... Yeah, so they drop them off. They drop off Mirio and Mighty like outside of Venice, and Yuki's like, "Well, I guess you better continue without me, to find Casanova. But you'll come back to Venice once you've captured Casanova, right?" And Mirio's like, "Of course I will." And then Yuki gives her like this necklace or something.
Yes.
To be like, "Please keep this until you come back," kind of thing.
Oh, Mamori.
And immediately Casanova just goes like, "Well, I think she's my fated one and I need to get back to Venice." And Mighty's like, "But we just escaped."
We just left.
Please.
We had to.
And Casanova's like, "Well, I don't care. I'm going back to Venice. You do what you want." And Mighty's like, "Oh, gosh. Okay, right." So they then immediately head back to Venice.
We just got out. You want to go back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And then what happens? I think like the plan to marry off Yuki to Akira or Constantine like is pretty much in the works, and they're going to have a masked ball.
Yes.
For that purpose, Kare likes using different type of medicines, they call it. So he's got he's got tear medicine, which is basically like these drops that he drops into his eyes and they make him cry. And like Kare is so funny when she does this, like throughout the show. I think she does like 2 or 3 times, like puts the drops in her eyes, and she goes like,
I loved that little touch. Like I like it when she's funny.
yeah,
Like when she just adds those little like things into it. It's so funny. And
yes,
like when she's singing her song, because she sings a whole song
mm-hmm.
about it, and she like kind of like tilts her head up to like do the eyedroppers, and she's like, ooh. She's just it's kind of like an embodiment of what I like about this show is that
Yeah,
like it's fun, it's peppy, it doesn't take itself too seriously,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and like you just get these little like quirky little moments where people are just like extra kind of like ridiculous, and they just kind of like make their characters just like ridiculous, and
Yes,
I
yes.
loved that little touch she
It's
did.
so
Yeah.
good. It's so good. And
Yeah.
Kare is just, she's so great in this show. She has a song with Akira that I felt was very well matched. So basically, Kare doesn't have like the vocal range of, for example, Mirio. And you
Yeah.
need to make sure that you adjust the roles depending on like what you can do, kind of thing, right? So they've cleverly matched her up with Akira for this song where Akira will sing really high notes, and then she'll switch to really low notes, and then Kare will like sing kind of like the same kind of note the whole time. So like Akira is the one with the vocal agility there, but like the way they match it up like really really works, and it's a fantastic song. And I just love how they are able to do that for Kare, because seeing that here made me really think that, wow, okay, they can do this for Kare. They can, like, when she becomes top star, because she will, right? Like, they can really match things to her ability. So, like, I'm not worried about that anymore. I'm just like, yes.
She's definitely like, especially in the past couple of years, her singing has greatly improved. She's still not what I would call an especially strong singer, but there have been plenty of top stars that aren't in the past. So like, I'm not terribly fussed specifically about that. She kind of makes up for that with the fact that she can dance circles around pretty much anybody in the entire troupe, or in the entire company rather.
And she's ridiculously beautiful. I mean, there's
so good at dancing.
There's no way to contest that in any way. Like, Kare is like exceptionally beautiful. I mean, come on.
I remember watching when we saw both Genji, and then we saw that live eons ago, and then but also kind of sidebar on Sakasho. She has a really, like, when I saw her, especially in Sakasho, like I just flashed on these like really traditional like Japanese paintings. And I think she's just like got that really kind of like classic look, especially when she's in the traditional makeup. So yeah.
I mean, like, and some of the photos, some of the stage photos of, I think I think the first stage photo I got for this show was of Mirio, of course, but like it had to be. But like, I think that most of them feature Kare, because I was just like, well, I have to buy this. It has to happen. My money has to go. Like, yeah, there's no choice about this. Like,
I think that was me when I was like, Chinatsu's postcard. This I don't make the rules. I have to come home with this. Speaking of stunning people. Oh my god.
Actually, there was a Chinatsu photo that when I was in line to buy all of my Kare photos, the ladies in front of me, there were 2 friends, and one of them had gotten like a Chinatsu photo when she's like kneeling down. It's a fantastic pose, and she looks great. And and they were like looking at the photo and talking about it, and they're like, yeah, it's such a great pose. And then the one woman who is like holding onto the photo, she's like, yeah, like I really recommend you to buy this photo to her friend. And her friend is like, is it okay if I sneak away from the line? And the friend's like, yeah, I'll hold your space, it's fine.
That's funny.
So the lady just snuck away to find the photo. Oh, it was great.
I love that.
Yes,
I love that. Oh my god.
Osusume desu. Osusume.
Osusume. Yeah. Why don't we do like a quick kind of wrap up, like just sort of like very quickly go over like how it resolves, and then we can maybe go through and talk about people
sorry, this is like so all over the place.
Too much.
If
this is too hard to follow, you guys just go read the like synopsis on Takawiki. I'm so sorry.
So many side notes. So basically, so the reason we started talking about Kare's medicines is because she also has what she calls a Casanova medicine. She gives that to Akira because she's like, well, give that to Beatrice and she'll fall in love with you, kind of thing. And so at the Masquerade, at the masked ball, Beatrice and Akira, like, they don't really like have any animosity or anything. Like, they are nice people and they are nice to each other, but like Beatrice is not in love with him, so she doesn't want to marry him. That's the only thing. But Akira's like, oh hey, you seem thirsty, and Yuki's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, no, I'm not. Okay, then I guess you're not drinking the Casanova medicine. But then what happens is Constantine, he's getting drunk, and he wanders into this area where Chinatsu's cats are hanging out. I think they are cats, but they like turn into people, or they are people and turn into cats.
Or turn to cats. It's really unclear as to what they are, but it's like cute. A group of like 5 musumeyaku who are dressed in like cute little black outfits with like cat ears and a tail, and they go like meow, and like yeah, and like all those things. So it's
and they are very hungry because Chinatsu apparently is not the best master when it comes to feeding you. She gets angry and doesn't want to give you any dinner. So,
but Otokurisu is the one that's always hungry. She's the orange one.
Yeah. So Constantine wanders in, and Otokurisu like tries to hide. And but he's like, oh, there's a kitty, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna run now, and he's like, wait, you're not a cat, and then he follows her for some reason, and she goes straight back to Chinatsu's lair or basement or whatever you want to call it.
Like lair.
And then he's like, oh, I'm so thirsty, so he drinks whatever he's got on him, forgetting that it's like a love potion. And then he catches sight of Hana no Juria and falls instantly in love with her.
Yes.
And
tries to free her because she's all like shackled.
Yes.
In Chinatsu's little lair, and she's like, oh, why are you helping me? And he's like, because you're beautiful. Or whatever. But then they aren't able to escape because Chinatsu comes back and basically like imprisons them both. And scene.
Yes.
So that takes like Constantine kind of out of the whole like scene basically.
During the Masquerade, Casanova is like trying to talk to Yuki. Wait, okay, we've missed like a huge bit, which is that Casanova comes back to visit Beatrice, and she's like praying to God that he is safe, and then basically Mirio opens the windows and go, "Ba-da! Well, here I am. So you got your wish, haha." And the thing is, like, in his trying to get to Beatrice, he has charmed a whole bunch of women who then come rushing into Beatrice's bedroom, and so they've kind of been like, oh, hey, I'm here. And she's like, oh my God, let's get married because you caught Casanova, right? And he's like, yes?
Marriage? Yeah, what?
And then she's like,
and then so like, but then this whole time, like, Antonio Okada has been like chasing him as well. So like, Casanova is trying to get away from Antonio from the prosecutor or whatever by charming all these women to kind of get in his way. And then he eventually makes his way to Beatrice's room. So in the meanwhile, in the midst of this conversation that they're having with Beatrice, suddenly all of these women and Kare burst into the room and kind of like out him as Casanova. And then as soon as that happens, they all leave.
Yeah.
So it's like this completely ridiculous, like, Deus Ex Machina like thing almost, or they come in and they're like, by the way, it's Casanova, and then they all leave, and then Maria's just like,
no, because the women come in first, and then Kare comes in and like, I'm gonna get you, Casanova,
that's right,
and then
yeah.
Casanova's like, could you take care of him for me? And then they kind of usher him out, and that bit I think is improv. And one time, when I saw this show, Kare made like this high-pitched noise that I think only dogs should be able to hear, and it was so funny. It was like ridiculous. Like my love for Kare in this show is just, it's just a lot of love. It's just so great, so funny. And then everyone has left, and then Beatrice is like, so you tricked me, and she's like, you're Casanova, and he's like, yeah, but I mean, I still want to be with you. Like, I'm a man standing in front of a woman.
He's
like, oh.
I think he's just like, I'm just a regular person.
Yeah.
And
she's like,
because she has been like, I can't love someone like Casanova. Or I can't love Casanova. And Casanova's just like, well, this is me. I am just a man, like, as opposed to like appealing on the idea that he's like Casanova and his reputation. He's trying to appeal to her like just on a like, well, you've met me and this is who I am.
Yeah, so you love me, but because I'm Casanova, you can't love me, kind of thing. Yeah. And this is a heartbreaking scene, and they almost got to kiss, and then no.
Nope.
And so he leaves. Like, she's like, well, I can't love you, I can't. So he leaves, and then Yukihime is very sad, and then comes the masquerade. So during the masquerade, she's just very sad because, like, this person she thought she was she is in love with, she has now decided that, like, well, I can't love him because he's Casanova, kind of thing. And Mirio during the masquerade is trying to like follow her around. Because, like, he was heartbroken, but then he talked to Mighty, and Mighty's character was like, well, I mean, just because she was upset doesn't mean that you can't try again. But no means no, gentlemen. No means no.
Right.
But in this particular case, Anyway, so but he's not being, like, intrusive or anything. He's just like, so she leaves the masquerade and goes to find a gondolier, played by Haruyu Mitsuki, and at this point Casanova decides that he should dress up as a gondolier and just do gondolier things,
because why not?
So apparently gondoliers have beards, and they sing. Yes.
They're singing gondolier.
So Yukihime goes to find a gondola because she wants to go on a gondola, and Haruyu Mitsuki and Mirio come out, I think it might potentially be a bit of an improv thing there. Like, they could,
yeah.
But I've never caught what the improv is, so I mean.
I feel like there weren't really many improvs in the shows that we saw. I heard that they did some silly things like during the last few shows, but I felt like there could be some like slight variations, but I think of most of the ones that we saw like weren't really.
One time when she was getting into the gondola, helped by Haruyu Mitsuki, Yuki's dress got caught, and so like that turned into a bit of a funny moment. But in general it was like I never caught any of the ad libs there, if there were any. And Mirio offers to take her on like a gondola ride because the other gondola driver that one of my friends said like, oh, you know, gondola driver, and I'm like, it's gondolier, and I just think that gondola driver is like the
Gondola
funniest
driver.
thing.
Well, it's kind of funny because like, so the gondola, the boat, is actually really cool because it has to be steered like on the stage by the actress that's sitting in it.
Yeah.
And because it's not just a static thing. It actually moves on its own. And it just like blew my mind the first time I saw it. I was like, how is it how is it moving?
Right.
Because the stage is also rotating at the same time, but you can clearly see that the gondola is like moving on its own, kind of in between some of the props or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? How does this work? But apparently what it is there's a little like lever or something that that Yuki, when she's sitting in it, her hand is kind of down by her side and she's actually driving it. And she's steering the boat.
Yes.
So I just thought it was a really fascinating like thing that they put in there that I totally like didn't quite understand it. But there's a scene earlier where Casanova is in the gondola and Haruhi Mitsuki is the actual gondolier. And when that scene ends, Haruhi Mitsuki has to sit down and take hold of that little lever and actually drive it off stage. So
so they did turn into like gondola drivers instead of gondoliers, I guess.
Right. Yeah,
I just thought that was like a really funny thing because I was just like, don't you know the word gondolier?
It's not a driver.
Because no, gondola driver. I feel like it's a very American thing to say.
To say driver, yeah.
But
probably.
But anyway, she like the gondolier is like, no, it's my shift is over. I'm not taking you anywhere, girl.
Bye.
And Mirio's like, I'll take you.
Oh, I'll do it.
And then they go off and they kind of like have a quiet moment on the rivers of Venice, and or the canals rather, I guess you would say. I thought that she always did this, but then when I watched the Blu-ray, I saw that she didn't do it in the Blu-ray. But Yukihime in Tokyo puts her hand into the water, like to like So there's a bit of like fog coming in, and she puts her hand like into the water to like feel the water, and then she does like this expert like, you know,
like shakes her hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like, to shake the water off.
Cool.
And I was just like fascinated by how fantastically natural that movement was. It was just like she had put her hand in water. I was just like, whoa. Yeah. And then it's not on the Blu-ray. And also on the Senshuraku, they filmed her putting her hand into the water, but they didn't film her taking her hand.
They didn't get the
out.
little. Oh, come on!
Right? I'm like, that's
I loved that
a shame.
gesture too. Yeah.
So I think, sorry
cool.
guys, you're not going to be able to see that if you didn't see it live.
It was just such a nice, little like natural piece of acting because it's just the like dry ice clouds that are like kind of coming, like wafting onto the stage to like make it look like water, and she just kind of like. Looks like she's swirling her hand in the water, and then she takes it out and she just kind of like shakes it off, and it's just such a smart thing to do.
So that was like a very sweet moment. And then she asks, so they have a conversation about like, because she's very sad, right? Obviously, so they talk to each other about that, and then she's like, "Could you just sing something for me?" And Mirio's like, "Okay, I'm gonna sing you a love song." And then she sings this song that sounds a bit Venetian, I guess. And then at the end of the scene, both of them step back on land, and Yuki's like, "Well, if you meet Casanova, then please tell him that I'm getting married off to this Constantine guy or whatever." And at this point, Mirio's like, well, I should cover my face. Even though she's been looking right at me the whole scene. So Mirio covers her face and goes like, "Yeah, sure, I'll tell him that." And then Yuki walks off, and Mirio suddenly, as if you didn't know it was her, takes off her beard and is like, "Oh, hello, guys."
Oh, hey, it's me. Yeah.
in the Tokyo run, she kind of just like leaves it hanging on her microphone. But on the Blu-ray, she like, or the DVD, she takes off the whole beard and like, but I think it got caught on the microphone so many times, she just went like, can I just leave it there?
That's funny.
So,
someone else can take this off when I get off stage in 2 seconds.
Yes. So
that's
also like a little tidbit from like the changes that happened. So then Mirio knows that this is happening, and what happens then?
So they have the whole bit with the casino, right, where she and Mighty kind of hide out a couple of times, where you've got like randomly Mozart and some other figures in there, and Shirokimi is there too, and they're just kind of these like group of friends that like Casanova knew from before or whatnot, and I know Yuki has like her song that she like her solo beautiful song that she sings in the gorgeous red dress, and I think that happens either like right after or shortly after, but essentially Casanova's like group of friends orchestrate this whole performance of Don Giovanni, which Mozart has ostensibly written for this occasion, which is, spoiler alert, that's not how it happened in history. But it was also kind of a funny note. Don Giovanni is based on the story of Don Juan, which you might recall Daimon did a couple of years ago. I think that's it. Dove Aria also did the music for that. So there's a lot of like common threads here, but it was really funny when Al and I were watching, because it happens in Act 2, when Al and I were watching it for the first time, I was like, oh, it's based on it's Don Juan. I was like, no, it's Don Giovanni, because like I've heard, I'm a classically trained violinist, so like I'm familiar with Mozart's music, and also I've seen Amadeus 500 times, and that Haruhi Mitsuki kind of like sings this little bit like Don Giovanni or whatever. So I recognized, I was like, no, it's Don Giovanni. And Al's like, but it's Don Juan, like, it had the ghost and, like, the guy and everything. And turns out it's the same thing. So we were both right. But so they kind of orchestrate this little, like, play to happen. And in order... and so everybody, all the dignitaries or whatever is going to be there, and Beatrice is there, and Constantine and everybody, like, is there. And so that's kind of, like, Casanova's, like, in to kind of interrupt this whole thing, because he's part of... the play.
Yeah, Casanova plays Don Juan, and Haruhi Mitsuki the gondolier, because gondoliers are great at singing. Like, he gets roped into being the ghost. So that's like just a nice little thing. Like, if you've seen the show Don Juan, you'll be like, oh my god, they're doing it. It's just like,
you'll totally recognize it.
So it's cute. And then basically they interrupt this. Is it an engagement party, or is it like an actual wedding is going to take place? I feel like it's more of an engagement.
Yeah, I think it's more like maybe some kind of official like announcement or something, because Yuki's wearing red still, and I feel like Takarazuka at the very least is very into like, you know, aesthetic symbolism, for lack of a better term, in the sense that like if it was a wedding, we would know it was a wedding. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah.
So they basically run in and say, no, she can't marry this dude who she doesn't love, and like she needs to have a free life. And the song that she sings on the when she's in the red dress and she's like walking up the stairs, and then you know, being beautiful, and then, you know, perfect and wonderful in every single way. It's like, that's basically a song about how she, like, her life is her life. It's like her watashi dake ni, you know. She gets a watashi dake ni that's not a watashi dake ni.
It's a really lovely song. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. And then like she's like, my life is my own, and I'm not going to marry someone that I don't love, and I'm going to go and tell my uncle, and it's going to be great. And then she does, and her uncle's like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm on with that. And then they go to tell Kare, and Kare is like,
I was like, no.
No. And then
I'm taking over now.
Yeah, so he gets his henchman to basically capture the governor, and
Yeah.
and like Yuki's just breaking down.
He's like, I'm in charge now.
Mm.
But then so like they stage this whole like interruption, and then Natsumiyo comes in and is like, surprise, I'm the Pope, Bishop, whatever
The count.
she is,
The count.
the higher authority, and who has sympathy for Beatrice, and is like, actually,
Yes.
y'all can do what
Yes.
you want. But I think what it was, but isn't it though that so they're like, you can marry who you want, but Casanova still has to answer for his crimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you can have this like one last day of the carnival, of like the festival or whatever, and then you have to go to prison.
No,
Isn't
it's
that
like
what it was?
Casanova has to leave Venice, and then the uncle's like, I think it's the uncle who's like, and Beatrice, like, I'm not gonna make you marry anyone, so I mean, you could leave Venice
could also
as well. And then she's like, no, I am a daughter of Venice now. I'm going to be here. I'll wait for you, Casanova. And I'm like, that's a terrible choice. Why would you do that? Like, you could just leave with your beloved.
Just leave and go.
But so they have this like last day in Venice when the Matsuri is still going on, and yeah. And that's the end of Casanova.
That's the end.
Yeah.
There are other little storylines that happen, but like the overall thing is obviously like Casanova's in prison. He escapes from prison. He meets Yuki. They kind of fall in love, and then there's other little shenanigans, and she has to marry the dude. She doesn't want to marry the dude. There's that drama, and then she finds out he's Casanova. She doesn't like Casanova. They like attempt to reconcile. They sing a song in a boat, and he comes in and professes his love by pretending to be an actor, and then they walk off into the sunset.
Yeah.
So that's like the really, really short version.
Yeah.
There's also this little storyline with like Akira and Julia, and then you've got Chinatsu's bit, because there's her whole like, she decides she doesn't want to be like alive anymore, but she doesn't commit suicide. It's more like she drinks her own potion that makes her like a doll, basically.
So she has a fight with her husband, and he's like, everything that's happening is happening because of you, and if it wasn't for you, like, all of these terrible things would not be happening. You're terrible. I wish, like, you know, whatever. And she's like, I don't want to be alive anymore if that's the way you want it. Like, so.
But then it's discovered, and he gets like, there's actually, it's kind of like really touching, like the way that Kade's acting when Chinatsu comes in, and she's kind of all like lifeless,
people carry her
and whatnot. Yeah, and Casanova saves her, and Mighty, like, they have this little
potion.
It looks like, I don't even know what it is. It looks like CPR or something. Like give her a potion, and then Mirio like does some magic, and she's like, oh, she's awake again.
Yeah. No, what they're doing is actually Mighty is like compressing her chest to make her swallow, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like
they kind of make it out
it in, and then like they did it to Mozart as well, because like Mozart was so Hiryu Tsukasa's character is like this medicine man-ish person, but like kind of a faily one, because he just keeps deadly poisons in his case. Yeah. And then Hanayuki is like his girlfriend, and she is in charge of the case at one point. And Mozart goes like, oh my god, I'm so stressed out over this play that I'm writing, and they're making me,
I don't want to be alive.
And then he's like, I wanna just be relaxed. I wanna be as relaxed as though I've gone to heaven. And she's like, I've got something for that. And then she gives him poison. He like runs around on stage, and this is Aka-chan who plays him.
Aka-chan,
and it Mozart, doesn't turn out as well on the recordings as it did live, of course, but like there's like this reflective type of lighting that's like rainbow-ish on Mozart, and like he's running around, he's like, oh my god, and then
it's like he's high,
and then he like falls down dead. And then Casanova's like, well, this isn't good, so he like comes up with like this potion to help him. So that's how Casanova has the potion that then revives Chinatsu as well.
Yeah.
So.
This is all like super like inconsequential to the actual plot.
Yes.
Like there are so many little things that like they're just there because why the heck not? I guess like you don't need to understand the thread with like with Chinatsu or anything like that to actually like get the gist of like they're not really connected that
like
much
you
at all. They're
understand the
just
main
kind of
plot
there.
anyway, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's
So
still nice to know that Chinatsu wants to stuff Mirio, right?
right. Oh, you're beautiful. I just want to like
Look at
keep
you
you in my
forever.
collection. Yeah. I will. Yeah. So that's kind of like the overall like idea of the show. And if you've made it this far, congratulations. We're gonna talk about maybe some individual people right now. That was very meandering. I'm very sorry. Anyway,
we've mentioned a lot of stuff though, so like hopefully this was helpful.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there, but I don't even know where to start with who we want to talk about.
Let's talk about
first.
Mirio, just because
Mirio.
Yeah. She.
I will say. Now again, I've seen Hanagumi live more than the other troops. Since we can only get over about once a year, if that anymore or so. Every time, we've gone to see shows in Japan, we've seen Hanagumi, and I've always been super laser focused on somebody else most of the time. She's not there anymore, so it was easier for me to kind of pay attention to other people. And it's not to say that I haven't ever paid attention to Mirio, because it's really hard to miss her, obviously,
of course.
or that I haven't appreciated her. But I felt especially moved by her performance this time around for whatever reason. I think probably at least 3 or 4 times each time we saw the show, I was like nearly moved to tears. But specifically, Mirio has a really wonderful solo song. I think it's either at the end of Act 1 or somewhere in the middle of Act 2. And she has like this time like where she comes out on the Ginkyo on the Silver Bridge, and I don't know, there's just something about like the song and the quality of her voice, and I'm just like, you're such a wonderful top star. I don't know, I just felt like I always got so emotional during that time, and I just loved watching her. I just feel like there's just something like especially powerful about her in this show. And it also just kind of like, as we talked about before, the way that we're losing so many prominent people, and people that, again, that I've like gotten to know and experienced like since I started following Takarazuka and Hanagumi. It kind of feels like this is sort of like the last show before like a lot of major changes happen. And I just got really kind of like nostalgic and sad about that.
It does feel a bit like a goodbye, but it's because like we're saying goodbye to this top combi that like has been, because to me it feels like Senna Ayase was the partner that Mirio chose. Like this is the like glory time of Hanagumi, and that's done. So, kind of, well, the glory time of Mirio's Hanagumi, we don't know what's waiting for us, but so it felt a bit like a goodbye in that sense, definitely.
So I don't know, like I said, I feel like I just extra appreciated Mirio this time around, and not that she wasn't awesome in Sante, but I feel like there just wasn't, Yamatai Koku was just such a bland role for her, I feel, and I feel like she just had a lot more fun with Casanova, definitely. And I felt like she was just really enjoying herself like every time she was on stage.
I mean, I think though that we've talked about Yamatai Koku before, and we've kind of decided that it is actually a good show. Like Yeah, so we'll get to that later, but I mean, Yamataikoku as a show is not a terrible show. Like, it's just that it's followed by something that is like ridiculously vibrant, and like so it pales in comparison, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I was very happy with this role for Meteor. Like, I'm just so happy with this whole show for everyone.
Yeah.
I think Meteor is having a whole bunch of fun with this role, and I think Yuki is having fun with her role too. The aesthetic is great. Like, her hair just, I mean, the wig looks great. The finale hair that Meteor has is also very yabai.
It's good. It's a good look.
It's good. It's good, guys.
Yeah.
So she just
it's
looks
really
fantastic.
all of the pictures in the program.
She looks super healthy. She looks very happy. I mean, I think this is a good time for Meteor. Like, Casanova has been like really good for her. So I'm just happy seeing her this vibrant and healthy and happy and just so just good things for Meteor. So I'm happy about it.
I was very pleased also in the sense that like being able to come back for her Taidon isn't necessarily like a super done deal for us. Like, we're obviously going to try, but you don't know what life throws at you, you know, in a few months. So in the event that like it doesn't end up being possible or whatever, I was just happy. Like, I was just really happy that like we got to have this at the very least. So I was very, like I said, I was very, very moved with her performance the whole time. So it was fun. She was having fun. I like it when you can tell that they're having fun.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I think this is just generally a good show for all of Hanagumi, and like the musumeyaku also get a bit of attention because since all of the because Mirio is interacting with all of these different musumes and like younger musumes as well, like she's having a lot of interaction with all of them, so it you know, you really feel the love she has for her troupe, but also the love that the troupe has for her, and like all of these like little musumes get to fawn over the top star. I mean, I'm just like, this is delightful. I just love
it's
that.
So fun. It's so fun.
And like there's this little scene, so when Mirio is going to Beatrice's room, there's one scene, like, well, he like, so Casanova like bumps into this group of ladies who like freak out and start screaming because there's a man, and then he's like, please be quiet, and then he like charms them, and suddenly they all have a rose in their hand. And it's just like, wow. And then there's like, he asks where Beatrice's room is, and then he runs off, and then there's like another group of women dressed in white, and he charms them, and they like fall down to the floor, and then they do like this like, scoot forward towards him. That's just like ridiculous.
I love that.
So good.
It's so fun.
Yes. So like just the attention that the tiny musumes get. And I also love the moment in the I think is it the last number before the end of Act 1, is it? When there's a bunch of musumes dressed in red, and Yukihime is also dressed in red.
Oh, yeah, because isn't that her solo? Isn't that's part of it, right? There's a bunch, and they kind of like, they turn off all the spotlights and they leave.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the solo. Yeah, that must be towards the end of Act 1,
like, turns around and like, you know, does like this little wave, and it's
the little
so
wave.
Cute.
I think that's Shiraki Akari. I'm pretty sure that's her.
Yeah.
But I love that. The little spotlights that they all kind of get.
She's Jokuse Shiraki Akari, but that's like, right?
She's what? Yeah, she's an upperclassman. Yeah.
So, but it's just so adorable. Like, all of them just love it. Love the Musume attention.
Yeah, I love that. I love Shirokimide, her character. I can't remember what her name is, but she's fun because like she's dressed kind of in like a feminine version of the men's clothing
Yes.
that
So-
that they're wearing, and
media, like, Casanova's also like, wow,
Yeah.
you're dressed as a dude. And everyone's like, yeah, she's dressed like a dude. And then she's like, yeah, because I'm traveling and it's a lot more comfortable to wear this when I'm traveling. So that's why I'm wearing it. So,
yeah,
boom.
she's
there
so
you go.
cute. I loved it.
Yeah, and then
they make out later.
they do. So,
It's so funny.
in that scene, like, Mirio's hanging out with her friends, and then Kare bursts in because he wants to talk to Mozart, and they obviously want to hide Casanova, and then there's something they're talking about, like how to be free or whatever, and then
Oh, yes.
and then Mirio's like, no, that's not freedom, and she like wants to be like, no, freedom is, and like Shirokimi is like, oh, what do I do? So she just runs up, grabs him, and kisses him, and Kare like looks over and he's like, Signore, and then like they turn around and then he sees Mirio's hair and he's like, to Signore, like it's a man with a man, and then he's like, oh, giyu desu ne, like that, I guess that's freedom, and then they just let that go, and I'm like, thank you, that's
like, oh, well, that's also free, I guess.
Yeah, like it's so subtle, but at the same time
cute.
it's kind of like, being so
it was a really cute little moment.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, okay, and then they move on.
Yeah.
It was funny.
And then after that moment, like they go back, like hiding behind people, but Shirokimi like sits down on Mirio's lap and they like make out for a bit.
Make out, they just go for it.
Yes. That's what happens basically. So
it was good.
Yes.
It was good.
Yes.
I was proud of her. I'm happy for her making out with the top star. Shirokimi, I'm so glad she's staying. I hope she doesn't ever leave for a long time. She's such a treasure. I love her.
Absolutely. And she's going to be in Boys Over Flowers, so I mean, she's going to get a bit of attention.
That's right.
So, it's going to be good.
She's got the lead musumeyaku role. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I hope that doesn't mean anything bad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Like,
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to Ayase then. I'm really happy that she got to have this role. It's a proper romantic lead with Mirio, which, like, for a grand theatre, I felt like we didn't have a proper romantic role. So if we think about it, so wait, I'm just gonna bring up her her Takawiki page because that's how we do things.
Well, for grand theater, it would have been Yamataikoku, Po, Messiah, and now Casanova.
Yeah. So for Yamataikoku, they are in love, but they kind of never really make it happen. They were going to elope, but then they didn't.
It didn't, yeah.
So they weren't together. And then in Po, she was with Akira, so that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then for Messiah, they are in love, but like they all die. So okay. And they don't really do anything. And then she did have Akane Sasu, like Love Blooms Out on the Murasaki no. That is a romantic story. But it's not a grand theatre, and I don't know. It didn't feel romantic in that sense, the way Casanova feels romantic to me. So I was just very, very happy to get to see them together, like being this way, like a rom-com kind of way. And that just like it healed my heart, even though Yuki is now gone.
It was such a good role for her that it's like it's vibrant and like spunky, and I think you can really like she can really do so much with it, and you can tell that she like I feel like it just feels, not to be cliche about it, very freeing for her in a way, because I feel like a lot of those other roles aren't very, not that they're not well suited, because she's an amazing actress, so she can do whatever she wants with whatever role, but like it feels so much more natural. She's such a funny person. We went to her ochakai and she was just hysterical the entire way through. Like, and she's so sweet as well. You can tell like she was having like such a really good time. And so it was just really, it was a really good role for her. I loved it.
Yeah. She's so beautiful.
And she's just, yeah, she was so
in
fun.
all of her dresses and everything.
All the dresses.
Yes. The only thing that struck me as slightly odd with her outfits is the like travel outfit that she's got, because when she puts that onto the dress, like it becomes so massive. It
Gosh.
I don't know, it dwarfs her somehow. So you'll notice it when you watch the Blu-ray. Like it's it's a thing. So
apparently, she did say this at her Ochikai, but it's the only thing I'm gonna say. Apparently, the dress, I think the Bonchoro dress, I think the one that you're referencing, was supposed to be bigger than it ended up being. But they scaled it back a bit. So I think they're all new dresses, like they're all original dresses.
Yes.
I loved the texture, the fabric on the red dress.
Yes.
Which you could see through the binoculars, and it just had this really beautiful texture to it. And yeah, she like changes her accessories every time she wears the dress. And if you notice, there are like several different different types of necklaces that she wears with it, or like she has a bracelet or she doesn't have a bracelet, that type of thing. So yeah, it's really except for that weird one that she sings when they're singing their like rap song, because it's just this weird like. It's weird. Oh no, actually that one isn't as bad. It's the one where she's in her room and it's this weird like patchwork.
It's
like that's the only one I
think.
don't like. Yeah. It's I don't know. I didn't care for that. I thought the design was kind of weird, but all the other ones are great.
I don't know. I mean, it shows off Beatrice's character. Like she is fun and interesting and like,
maybe a little bit naive.
Yeah, but she's also proper, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. But she also loved the red dress because she matched with Mirio, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think so.
So I heard, I wasn't at the Ochikai because I'm not that lucky, but I heard that she said that it's quite rare to be matching, like the top combi to be matching in a show. Like that doesn't always happen. So she was super happy to be matching with Mirio. So Mirio had the red outfit,
that
and she had
wonderful
the red dress.
iconic picture of like them together at the very end. Yeah.
So beautiful. So I mean, obviously for duet dances and things, like they'll be matching and for reviews and everything, but like for like
in the actual like play.
So that was also very cute.
I was very very happy with this role and the way that she was able to also interact like with a bunch of different people as well. And I loved her and Bei-chan so much. My one regret about the show is that Bei-chan sings, like she doesn't have a solo. She sings with Yuki a couple of times, but she doesn't have a lot of like, she actually doesn't have very many lines either. She's prominent because she's on stage quite often with Yuki, but she doesn't actually say or sing very much, unfortunately, which is kind of sad because I adore Bei-chan a lot. But I still appreciated her being there as well. But yeah, I love that like Yuki got some really interesting like interactions with a bunch of different people. And her song in the finale with Rei was so cute.
It's absolutely
just so cute and spunky and fun.
So when they sing together in the finale, Yuki comes out wearing this dress that looks like the night sky.
It's so cool. Yeah.
It's super pretty. They sing this song and then like they dance together, and then at the end like Kare pulls her in and like it's almost like she's going to kiss her. And they don't, and then Yuki gets like this pout on her face, like you weren't supposed to do that. I mean, except they were supposed to do that, but like originally it was like a bit stiff, I've heard. Like I've heard a lot of things about this show from a friend, so so I knew where all the good bits were, so I knew where to look for like little tidbits and stuff. But anyway, so this friend told me that like it's gone from being like a little stiff and awkward to being just like really, you know, chummy and friendly, and like they've hugged sometimes and like linked arms and just so they've been really really cute together.
In one of the shows we saw, Yuki gave Rei a kiss on the cheek. It was really cute. Yeah. It was so sweet. It was so sweet. So it was very cute.
They are way too cute.
We'll talk a little bit more about her later.
Yes. Shall we move on? We've talked a lot about Kare already. Do you want to say anything else? Just her, I just want to mention like her cape game is like so strong.
Capes. Yeah. She's real good with the capes now. Her duel with Mirio at the end was pretty great. It was fun to watch because she's just swishing her cape around like left and right. I also there's a bit where they're like, I think it's her and her two major henchmen, which are Kazumisho and Unamike, and they're like, I think they're like following the like kind of starstruck women or whatever, and they do this like cute little like skip, like that's kind of but also like creeping in a way. I don't know how to describe it, but they're just like kind of like bumbling like after the ladies trying to find Casanova, and it just it's so comical because they just kind of like I don't know how to describe it, but it's really funny.
It's super funny. Like I wanna talk about Kazumisho and Unamike, but like I just want to say one thing more about Kare. So like I love that she is able to be dramatic and funny and shouty, but she also gets to sing really well. And I look forward to every moment she's on stage. I'm just like, yes, she's here. There is a song, like her solo song, where she has like her own backup voice singing. There's like very effective lighting there. Because, she's lit in red. So there's like a spotlight on her, and her shadow is like huge behind her. But the thing is, like, her shadow doesn't look normal. Like, it looks like she's got like this massive torso and then like these teeny tiny arms and legs. Like,
I guess I never noticed the shadow.
But it looks kind of like unreal.
That's funny.
I mean, intentional or not, like that's just fantastic. And then like there's this row of people who are dressed completely in white, and they come out from like the right wing, and then they go like across about half of the stage, and then they disappear behind like a set piece. And like the dramatic lighting of that scene along with like her singing in that song is just, it's so fantastic. And like these people who are in white, they're also like lit in red and like a bit of blue, I think, as well.
They have masks on too, don't they?
Yes. But it's like it's very spooky and it's just such a good moment. Like, it's such a good scene. I feel like she gets a lot of good moments here. She gets to shine a lot. She interacts really well with everyone. And like her dramatic high-pitched crying is just classic.
Oh my god, I love. It was too funny. It was so funny. Like the fake crying where like she's trying to like garner sympathy for.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, are you crying? Oh, my tears, my like naminagusuri or whatever it was. My tear medicine.
Yes, this is how I do it. You know. So yeah. I guess that's what I wanted to say.
It's funny. Yeah, she's very enjoyable to watch in this show, for sure.
Yeah, so that's my kare thing. We've talked about Chinatsu as well, and yeah.
I just, oh god, she's so good, and I feel like I haven't like highlighted like her singing range.
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked about that,
No.
but like obviously Chinatsu is usually an otsukoyaku, hozukian, and there is always an argument to be made for like whenever they kind of put an otsukoyaku into an onayaku role, and you could be like, oh, you could just use one of your more prominent like musumeyaku maybe to like do that type of role. And that's certainly valid, but I loved Chinatsu in this role so much. She has an incredible range. Like, her song gets quite high up there, and she sings it beautifully, like, every time. And she's, like I said before, I'm extremely sad to lose her from Hanagumi because I adore her so much. And she's an incredible actress because she just melts into every role that she is. And there are some actresses where, like, it's sort of like you are seeing, I feel like they don't disappear into a role as much, where it's sort of like, oh, you see like this person as like they're still kind of prominent in their I don't know how to describe it. I had this problem with not necessarily a problem, but like I noticed it with Maso, with Masaki Ryu, in the sense that like whenever I saw her show, like I could only see Maso as opposed to like seeing the role that she is. Like I would see Maso first and then the role, whereas it's the reverse with Chinatsu. Like, and every role that Chinatsu is in, like I see her character first and then I'm like, oh right, that's Chinatsu. And so she's just so good at like disappearing into whatever it is that she does. So even though like her character like isn't really that important, just like perfect, like she's not actually that important in the story at all. She doesn't like, she's not actually you know, significant necessarily, in the sense of how it contributes to the plot. Like it's still like it's a really good role. I really love what she did with it. And every time like she stepped on stage, even if she was in the background, like she just had this really like great like kind of projection of her aura, of what this character was.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, so much love for Chinatsu, and
I do. I love her, and I'm sad she's leaving.
So
to another troop.
At the Sayonara, at the Senshuraku, she, at the end, Mirio asked her to do the Hanagumi pose with everyone.
Hanagumi pose.
Yeah, because she was like, well, I mean, this is not the last day at Takarazuka for Chinatsu, but this is the last time she's going to be able to do the Hanagumi pose, so I want her to like do the Hanagumi pose, so she did it.
Oh.
And at the Raku in Mura, I wasn't there, but I've heard things. The other, like, I think it was Kare and Mighty who kind of like pushed Chinatsu to stand with the people who were taidaning.
Oh,
like, so, and then she was like she was trying like to move away from there. She was like, no, I'm not this important.
No.
Like, and they were like, no, you're staying there. You're just as important, you know. And she's like, no. So they just want, like, there's a lot of love for Chinatsu and Hanagumi, and like I hope that the Tsukigumi fans will be as excited to have her back as they should be.
I was gonna say they should be. You're welcome for having her back, okay?
Hi.
So she's wonderful. I love her.
She's great. So back to Kazumi Sho and Yunami Kei. So Kazumi Sho is like the serious one, and Yunami Kei is the goofy one, and you'll also see this represented in the photos if you get the program, because Kazumi Sho is like doing the thoughtful hand on chin type of thing.
Yes.
Yes, she's like, okay, serious times, like we need to catch some criminals. And then if you look at Yunami Kei, she's doing like some weird star jump thing and going like, ah! So that's exactly how they are in the play. Yeah?
Kazumi Sho, like her expressions are just so funny. Like, I'm sure, like, not many of them will make it onto the DVD, but Al pointed out to me, they're like, watch Kazumi Sho. Every time she just looks so done.
And then Yunamike
I can't
like,
believe what is going on right now. What is happening? I cannot believe this is a thing.
And she's
Are you
also
kidding
like
me right now?
constantly getting Yunamike to like, come on, we need to catch Casanova now. We're not goofing off right now. But like, there's genuinely a part in the first act where Yunamike runs right into the left-hand side wall. Like, she runs right into the wall, smack into the wall. And it wasn't on the Senshuraku and it wasn't on the DVD. So I'm just like, this is a moment that's lost in time now, but she did it. I think she did it for every show. Like, this is just so funny. And one time when I saw Casanova, there is a bit when they are chasing Casanova and Pal through Venice, right? And they've got like the small set pieces from Beatrice's Buongiorno song, like, and they're running around Venice, and there are like, there's also like a big group of women and stuff. And one time when I saw it, Yunamike like almost had Mirio, like she was like, aha, there you are. And then there's like a group of women coming towards them, and Yunamike gets this panicked look on her face, and then she pushed Mirio at the women and ran away.
Oh no! Wait.
It was so good, and I was just like, oh my god, I want this to happen again, and it never did.
Oh no.
So now you know that totally happened, and it was great. So, yes.
Incredible.
Yeah. They are a very cute combo, Kazumisho and Yunamike, and just keep an eye out. They are special beings that are deserving of so much love.
Kazumisho is such a good voice.
Right. Yes.
So
all the
good.
yeses.
I hope we get to hear a lot more of her now that we're clearing house.
And I hope we get to see a lot more of her as well, because she's beautiful.
She is, yeah. Gosh.
Stupid beautiful.
I love her.
Then next in my list we have Tsukasa, who has this mane of a wig, and then
oh gosh,
like I wrote this in my notes, like, and then I felt like it was the day after or something. People were like, "Oh yeah, Akira said she's like a baby lion. She's totally like a baby lion," and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's what it is.
Oh yeah. Well, it doesn't help that she's wearing leopard print as well.
Yeah. So, but like she's the puppy dog-esque little lion in the world. Yeah. She's got like big, huge, expressive eyes. I mean, she always has like a whole bunch of emotions going on her face. Like other people are like normal in the background, and then Tsukasa is like super extra. Just like,
she's like the next Mighty, who is always like 120% no matter what she's doing.
Yeah. And her character's name is Balsamo, which I thought was funny because in Swedish the word for like conditioner, like, you know, shampoo and conditioner, is balsam. So I'm just like, that makes sense. The huge hair, balsamo. Oh yes.
Oh my god.
So
that's really funny. It makes me think of balsamic.
Yeah.
Like balsamic vinegar.
Yeah. maybe it's also delicious. Who knows?
Balsamic. I mean, I don't
know. And she also like she brushes off her case, like the medicine case that she's got, when like the soldiers have touched it and stuff, because they kind of like go in.
Oh, right.
And they're kind of like, we're gonna take this now, and he's like, no, you cannot take my stuff.
No,
my livelihood,
my
and then
poison.
Like, it brushes it off like, you know, something bad touched it, you know. It's just, that's so funny. Then my next person is Tatsuki Mio, and she found her makeup style in this show. She looks great.
Yeah. Yes.
And she gets to sing a little bit. Like that trio. Yeah. She's like the second person who sings. She's wearing blue. In the, I call it like the fairy tale rave.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what it feels like to me, that song.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And I'm really happy that she got to sing, like, you know, a solo moment because now all of the Zuka fans will know how great of a singer she is. Right? So just give her more stuff to do. It's great.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I can't remember who the other two even were in that.
But yeah, they were all really good.
Group.
Yeah.
They're younger. But they're all so good. And I remember like hearing that and I was like, oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. Oh, and So, but there are so many Tatsuki Miyo moments in this show, but you never notice them unless you are a Tatsuki Miyo fan, maybe. Because so there's the opening number where they are like dancing in this courtroom, like a whole bunch of men are dancing in this courtroom. Actually, Chinatsu is one of the men dancing in the courtroom. Keep an eye out for that. And then like Tatsuki Miyo, she's like at one point she's at the front of the stage and she does like this backwards forward roll. I don't know how to explain what it is, but that's what it is. Like, you know how you do like a forward roll, like you're sitting on the ground and you do a forward roll, like you curl up. She does that but backwards. Yeah, it's like stupid agility.
Oh, like just a backwards somersault. Or does she like flip onto her feet?
No. She's like sitting on the floor and then she like rolls backwards up into a crouch. It's like ridiculous. I'm like, how do you even do that? Like, what?
With a lot of practice.
I didn't like. They didn't film it on the Senshuraku. It wasn't on the Blu-ray. I'm like, we've been robbed.
Oh my god! So many things that just didn't make it. Yeah. And I'm like, but why?
I love that. I just love that. Another thing that she's in is she is one of the people who's like moving Chinatsu's chair around in her lair. So she like wears this cap that kind of makes her hair disappear. Like, she's supposed to be featureless because she's like just moving the peas around. But did I say peas? Like peas as in, you know, potatoes and peas and carrots. It's a set piece, not peas. Well, anyway. Yeah. So, anyway, she moves around Chinatsu's chair. She lifts Kare and Akira in the number where they sing really well together. Like she's lifting people. So she does a lot of stuff in this show. You just don't like focus on her or see her unless you are a Tatsuki Miyo fan, which apparently I am. I was so sad I couldn't go to her ochakai this time. I really wanted to, but I was like busy doing moving stuff, so I couldn't go. I'm so sorry, Tatsuki Miyo. I wanted to see you. She's an absolute bean, and everyone should go and see her. And I have gone to her ochakai for, I think it was for Messiah, and she had her ochakai during a day when they were like, there's going to be a typhoon, so like people didn't turn up, and it was like, I was like 1 out of 15 people, and so we all got like a single shot with her, and I asked her to do Charlie's Angels, and so she did Charlie's Angels with me. I mean,
that's awesome.
Like, she's just so amazing. So just
I love that.
Lots of love for Tatsuki Miyo, guys. Just.
She's from Texas. Right?
I think so. Yes.
She's from she's I don't know exactly her background, but I know she's like from America. So I don't know. She let me speak English at her. I asked her like, is it okay if I speak English to you? And she was like, yeah, that's fine. So that was very sweet of her. I mean, nice. I can speak Japanese to people, and I normally do speak Japanese to people. So I don't know if she knows that I can speak Japanese, because that was the first question I asked her. I was like, can I speak English? And she was like, yeah, sure, it's fine. So I don't know if she... You know what? Sometimes just take what you can get. It's kind of like how I feel about it. Like...
So, no, but she's an absolute bean. Sorry, that was like a very, going away from the whole Casanova thing.
No, I think it's great to kind of to highlight some of the underclassmen, especially. The ones that people might not necessarily know about. So, Yeah, no, I really enjoyed her a lot.
Right.
She's very sweet.
And
So, even we talked about Shirokumi.
yeah.
Unfortunately, there's not much more to say about what she does
No,
because she's
she
a
is
fairly small role. But I do want
beautiful.
to talk.
She's beautiful
She
in the
is.
red dress that they have, like in the
Yeah.
first number
Oh,
with all of
yes.
the, like the first Casanova number where he's like,
Nova
oh,
number
here
theme
I am.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she looks amazing there.
Yeah.
Otokurisu is actually also among the people who get attention in those bits.
Yes.
So I was happy about that because I feel like that means good things for her. I guess like
Yeah.
someone said she was going to be kind of like the new Beige-chan-ish, I guess. Like or going towards
Yeah.
that type of position. So I'm like, yeah, that would be a good spot. And
I would hope so, yeah, because I mean she's been passed over for top star now, so and I love her so much.
yes, she is so great.
She's so wonderful. She's a delight.
Yeah.
She's she's a great actress. She's a really great singer. And she sounds very similar to Yuki actually. I've like mistaken her for Yuki several times in the past actually. So
I don't know that I have done that, but like she definitely has like a vocal ability that allows her to do many different things. So
yes.
if you like if you don't know her face, then it wouldn't like you wouldn't necessarily know that she is the little the cat
right
that says
yes.
Gohan wa? And just like really cutesy kind of
yeah.
And then she is the étoile and she sings with this like really mature tone to her voice, and like you wouldn't necessarily know that that's the same person because she has like this I don't know.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's really good.
I love her. Yeah. So I hope that means like she'll be able to be more prominent now that we're kind of bumping up some of our other musumeyaku as well. So yeah.
Oh, could I also give like a shout out to Seino Asuka for doing ridiculous sexy faces? Like I was like, that's way too much. Why are you doing that? But also, yes, thank you.
Calm down. Except don't calm down. Except maybe just a little.
Gosh, yeah. So she's a lot as well.
I think Seino Asuka is another one of those where it's gonna be interesting to see where she goes, because she seems a little bit pushed just by her Shinko roles, and in general, and I actually really enjoy her a lot. I think she's got a lot going for her, but still kind of in this nebulous, like, who's gonna be Ponte? I don't know. Like, who knows? We won't find out for a long while.
Well, she's got the look. So. Definitely got the look.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she
But
does.
then, like, I feel like her style would be similar to Kare. So maybe they would want someone who would contrast more with Kare. So maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah. I feel like she would be a good transfer candidate. Maybe if they do those things. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea.
Okay, we're hitting like the 2-hour mark.
Oh gosh, are we?
Yes.
Oh jeez.
So,
oh my goodness.
So shall we?
How do we be concise? I don't know.
Shall we move on to maybe the Sayonara show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to give a very quick shout out to Mighty. I love you. You're wonderful and amazing, and I would be remiss without giving Mighty love. And I really enjoyed her. I always enjoy her in a kind of a quirky, weird role, and also didn't really get to sing a whole lot like on her own, but she was there. And it was fun. So good job, Mighty. I love you.
Oh, I have a lot of Mighty stuff for my list of things that changed. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, so for Mighty, there is a scene where Mirio goes to like see her dad, and Mighty comes with her, and the dad's like, "Oh, you got a new pet?
Oh, yes, yes.
And
Okay.
Mighty like jumps onto like this lounge sofa type thing, and then the
Like,
dad goes like,
yeah,
"No, no,
like
no,
a
get
sofa
down from there. That's
almost.
not for you." And
It's not for you.
and then Mighty's like, "Oh," and then she sits down like in front of this like 3-piece foldable like a trifle board kind of looking thing. What do you call that? Like, but
Hmm.
you change your clothes behind one of those kind of things, right? So Mirio goes behind that to like change into her like mysterious medium-ish outfit, and
Hmm.
Mighty's like shuffling around on the floor in front. And one time, Mighty apparently didn't want to leave the chair, so like the father had to like go up there and like actually physically like pull her off of the off of the lounge.
Oh my gosh.
Then another time, I think this was the raku, was like the father went up and like ruffled Mighty's hair, kind of like she was an actual dog. And that point as well, Mighty goes like, "Donna!" She like stands up and peeks over the wall at Mirio and goes like, "Help me!" Like she's literally like a little dog. Oh, it's so cute.
Oh, I think that was an ad lib
Yeah,
scene in a way.
yeah,
Like they kind of did some different stuff. I heard she went a little like extra in the
yeah,
last like couple of shows.
yeah.
The dad is Wataru Hibiki,
Ah, okay.
by the
Okay,
way.
cool,
So
cool.
she's another 93rd. That's how I know.
Well, I mean, excellent work anyway.
Yes, no, I love her.
Okay. Another thing that she did was in the raku, in the scene where Casanova is kind of all depressed because Beatrice just rejected him.
Hmm.
And like, yeah, so Mighty's character is trying to cheer him up, and then Mirio is like, "Oh, I don't know," and then he says like this line that I can't remember now, but it's like
Hmm.
ridiculously romantic and charming, and Mighty just goes like, "Oh my god, you shouldn't say that to me. You should say that to women." Like he gets so charmed by the thing that Casanova says,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Isn't he like, can I use that line?
Yes. So in
Yeah.
at the raku, like when Mirio says that line, like Mighty actually glomped her, like just ran up and like straight up, like hugged her, going like, "Oh."
Oh my gosh.
And then Mirio was like shoving her off, and then Mighty like just did her thing, and then she went like, "Can I use that?" And Mirio was like, "Yeah, but I think you should practice. You should practice right now." And Mighty's like, I don't know what to do now. So she asked Mirio to do the line again. So Mirio does the line again, and then Mighty's like, "Okay, I guess I'll do the line now." And she does the line,
Oh
and
my
like the
god.
audience applauds, and Mirio's like, "I don't know."
Mm.
Oh, and it was just so cute. I love them. They're great.
Aw.
Like other spectacular Mighty moments like in this show is
Yeah.
um, when she raps with them in the carriage. Like
Yeah.
that's also a great Mighty
Hmm.
moment because she's like excellent at rapping as well. Of course, I mean Mighty's good at everything. Like, is
Right,
there
yes.
anything that we have found thus far that Mighty cannot do?
I don't think
No,
so.
see, like superhuman. Um, yeah, Mighty's great. Mighty's great. That's
I
that's
have a
all it
bad
is.
answer for that, but I'm not going to say it.
No, we have to live in a universe where Mighty is just like perfection. So yeah, I still think that Mighty should start her own troupe, and it should be like
Honestly.
Kigumi, because that's an actual word and it means wood. So it would be like wood troupe, and she would be the top star, and it would just be like really musty people because Mighty's arms, right? So and they would just chop wood all day. So,
I'm going to write a letter to Hanku right now.
I think this is an excellent idea. Uh,
This is a fantastic idea.
so, yep, yep, that's my pitch.
Agree. Hard agree.
Hey,
Okay.
okay, all right.
Uh,
Sorry.
yes. Okay. Sorry. A little mighty meander there.
Hey.
Yeah, okay. So this is a very meandering conversation anyway. All right. Um I don't know. I don't know if we want to talk too much about specifically the Sayonara show, or if we just want to talk about maybe do we want to do a brief little overview of Yuki's career?
Wait, I just want to mention one more thing about the Casanova Senshuraku, if that's okay. So,
Oh yeah.
so the last, I think, 2 or 3 days that they did this show, Yuki started like in the scene where she rejects Casanova, when she finds out that Casanova is Casanova and she like rejects him. She says something about like that she doesn't need money, and she throws like an imaginary bag of money on the floor, and Mirio, without like blinking an eye, or without batting an eye, like goes over and picks it up and like holds it out to her, and she's like, "But this is your important money." And then they continued with that improv, and like the bag became bigger and bigger, and then like on the Senshuraku, what Yuki does is like she's basically holding this huge bag of imaginary money, and then she flings it over her shoulder with both hands, and then Mirio runs around her, goes and bends down and picks it up with both arms, like to show how it's like this money bag is like the size of a small pig, you know?
Oh my god.
Like, well, I guess like a 3-month-old pig, if you know how big a 3-month-old pig. Pigs grow really fast. So
it's a big bag of money, okay?
It's a huge bag of money. And then
2-armed bag of money.
She like runs back around and like goes like, "But this is your money." It's just like, oh my god. So that was super cute, and I love them.
I love that. I know they get silly like at the end of a show, but I wish they would do some things like that like the entire run.
Right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But
I think at the beginning, like, they need to get comfortable with like just the show and the lines and everything in and of itself. And some shows, of course, they can't do any improv because like it doesn't work with the actual play. So, I mean,
that's
everything
true.
is understandable, but like we wish that they would do these things all the time, of course, because it's delightful.
Yeah.
I mean, like when Chigi trolled Daimon during the Senshuraku of Lupin. Right?
A classic.
That's like when they just leave Daimon on stage. And
they all just walk off stage.
And I was like, what is going on?
Like, what am I supposed to do now? Are you lonely? No. And they don't come back until she admits that she's lonely.
Oh my god. It's so good. Everybody should watch that. It's like very, very, very
classic.
Amusing.
Classic.
Yes.
It's great. Yeah.
So right now I'm trying to find the list of the shows, not the list of shows, the list of songs that were in the Sayonara show, because it's on a Twitter post, but like I keep bringing it up and then Twitter goes like, you wanna look at your feed, and I'm like, no, I want to look at this post.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to do a little just kind of background synopsis of Yuki-chan.
Wait, I found it.
Oh, you found it. Oh, yeah.
All right. So it starts with the Purple Feather Rockets number from Sante.
A good
yes, number. And then it's the Chinatsu number from Beautiful Garden when she's like walking across the Ginkyo. That was really popular and is really good. So Chinatsu got to do that. Then there's a song that I hadn't heard before because I haven't seen haven't seen the show For the People, right? The Todoroki Ju one.
Oh, the Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. And Yuki and Bei-chan sang and Hana no Juria danced. So that was very nice. And then there was a song from Po, the Po solo. And there are 4 dokis, like 4 94s that come out with her for that one. And then there is the duet dance from Sante, but it's not the original Sante. It's like the Hakataza Sante. And then there was a Beautiful Garden song, like the Beautiful Garden one. The Beautiful Garden, yeah. And then there's the song from Messiah, and then it was the Sante theme. So, yeah, that was it. And it was a very cute sayonara show. It felt like a happy sayonara show. It didn't feel like a sad thing. It felt just like celebration and joy and everything. And all of her dresses were beautiful, especially the golden pink one. And
yes.
I think she said that she used to not like pink, but then she got sorted into Hanagumi, and then she had to be like, well, I guess I like pink now.
I guess I like pink now.
But she said she'd like grown to love it and stuff, and yeah. So that's it. Sorry, I will now let you move on to her career in general.
Yeah. She's a Yuki-chan Senna Ayase. She's a 94th, so she debuted in 2008. And she's always ever been in Hanagumi. So she never had any transfers or anything like that. She's always been a Hanagumi musume. And she actually graduated at the top of her class. Which, when you see her, it is not surprising because she's amazing. So she had quite a few fairly, I guess, like notable Shinko roles, but not any necessarily leads. But she's had several kind of like small theater leads when she got a little bit more prominent in the show. So some of her kind of notable Shinko leads, though, she was Sophie and Elizabeth. That was her last Shinko role. And she was Queen Diana in Ocean's 11. She was Carlotta in Phantom. And everything else. So she's had some like kind of some of those like more notable Shinko roles, but not like lead ones. Her first musumeyaku lead was Forever Gershwin with Kiki for her Bao Hall lead in 2013. She was also the musumeyaku lead for Judokichi, Kaze no Judokichi in 2015, which was with Hokusho Kairi, and another fun, really quirky, cute, kind of spunky role.
Yes, that's the one.
She's fantastic in that show.
That's the one that I saw when I really like went, oh my god, Senna is fantastic. Like, why have I not noticed this before? That's a really, really fun show in general. I love that show. I haven't seen it for a while. I should watch it again. And then she was the musumeyaku lead in For the People with Tom, and then she's again like had like kind of really prominent, most like fairly prominent roles since she became an upperclassman. She was Windish in Elizabeth, which was the first time, again, that was the first show I ever saw, and I have very few like specific memories of that particular show, but she's definitely one of them in that particular scene. And I just remember thinking like how well she matched Ranno Hana, who was top musumeyaku when she was retiring with that show. I just remember thinking how well like they matched each other when they sang together. So I was really, really impressed by her just then. She became top star in 2017 after Kano Maria, and their very first show. The small theater show was a tour reprisal of Romanesque Masque and Exciter in 2017, which is fantastic. And then Grand Theater debut was Yamataikoku, Wendover Yamataikoku, and Sante. And everybody knows how I feel about that. So we don't have to talk about that anyway. So, but yeah, so she's had, again, like not a super like pushed career necessarily as an underclassman, but she's again been very notable as an upperclassman, and I think it was quite a bit of a surprise when she was named top star, because she was like I can't do Kens in my head at the moment, but she was well past Shinko's. 3 years past Shinko's, so this is like Ken 10 or so, 9 or 10 essentially, which is extremely unusual in this day and age. But I think most everybody would agree that it was a really, really, really good
combination.
Oh no, wait, hang on.
Overall.
Debut 2008. So
Yes.
8, 9,
And 9,
10, 11.
right? 2017.
Yeah.
So.
No, it must have been 10. Ken 10.
Or 10. However Ken's work. So yeah, but I mean, she's only been with the company for like, 11, not including
2019.
school, so about 11 years, which seems fairly short.
I feel like we've somehow messed up on the Kens there, but...
Well, she's Ken 8 in 2008. Sorry, Ken 8. Ken 1 in 2008. 9. Isn't it 10? I don't know. Whatever. Somebody will be like, it's that.
Right? So, but it's unusual.
It's a thing. 9 or 10.
We've been very blessed. That's the thing.
Yes. So I've been very, very happy to have been able to see her so many times. And yeah, I feel like the shows that she's had as Top Musume have been kind of all over the place. Even in such a short amount of time, as we've kind of alluded to in the past, like there's been some, not a whole lot of like actual romances. Unfortunately.
Well, I mean, I guess there was Hana's Florist that was a romance, but I have so many bad things to say about that show. So many.
If you want to hear these bad things, go back to, what was it, the West Side Story podcast where you talked about that.
Oh yes, when I just spewed everything. I think, like with Hana's Florist, the reason I have a problem with it is because I am me. So I am, like, genetically, I am Danish because I'm Scanian, right? So Scania used to be Danish. So I'm technically Danish. And I've been to Denmark a whole bunch growing up, and like I know and love Denmark. But I went to the UK to go to university, so I know and love the UK because I've lived there for many years. And so the fact that I knew both of these places like very intimately, and they were misrepresented so grievously. And it's just like, I think that's what just killed it for me. So if you're not me, you're probably going to enjoy this show. And like, there's another thing I was thinking about like yesterday, because I was like, should I mention Hana's Florist at all in this podcast? Because like I have the only good thing I can say about it is Haruya Mitsuki, right? Because she's Eddington.
Yes, you like, mentioned her,
Yeah, so, I mean, that character is the one good character, and it's amazing, right? But they, like, one of the things about Hana's Florist that they were like, oh my god, look, we're so cool, we're using technology. So, like, he's using a computer and things like that. But the thing is that so this is set in 2014. Right? It's set, So I had already graduated from university by that point. And the thing is, when I lived in the UK, I would Skype my parents basically every day. So the whole thing with him not phoning his dad for years is just like, what are you even doing? Like, so I'm just like, when he gets upset because his dad died, I'm just like, well, you could have freaking phoned him. Like, it's free. Like, you have the internet. It's free. What are you, like, so, yeah, doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I've got beef. Like with this show. Sorry. But let's move on. But I guess that was like a little bit of a romantic show. I mean, Yamataikoku was like beautiful. Sante was amazing. Like, she got to show off just how fantastic an actress she is with that. There's one number in Sante where because it's like three musumeyaku, and Ayase is one. Like, so there are three couples on stage, and it's Mirio and Yuki.
Yes.
And
Yes.
like she's got like this skirt on that's basically just like little strings.
Tassels.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
one time when I saw the show, like her tassels got stuck like in her shoe, and like she stretched her leg out, and you could see like some of them just like coming with, and I was just like, I love that. Like I loved that, costume fail. So like that just stuck in my memory. So, but like Santi is an amazing, amazing, amazing show, and everyone should watch it.
It's perfect.
Yes. For so many reasons.
We should do a show on it sometime.
Yes, and Window Yamataikoku, because like I feel like Window Yamataikoku is not getting like the positive aspects covered, because everyone's just being like, oh, it's so boring, but actually there is Kazumi Show looking like you know how like in those historical dramas, like Korean historical dramas, like they have like these princes and kings and stuff. She looks like a Korean prince from one of those historical dramas, and I'm just like, I could look at you forever. And that's basically what I did for like the last 3 times I watched Yamataikoku. I was just like, where's Kazumi Show? I want to look at her. So yep.
It's a struggle.
Sorry. So that's Yamataikoku. I actually have not watched Romanesque Masque or Kamen Romanesque. I haven't watched it. I bought both of those DVDs, and I haven't watched either one.
You haven't watched them? That was one of the ones we saw live, but it was the version before it. It was the one with Kanomaria.
Okay.
But Yuki was there as well. She was playing
the only nice person, right?
Yeah, I think Bei-chan has her role in the 2017 version with Yuki's the lead. But yeah, she's the like kind of like distressed like one that Mirio is like trying to seduce essentially. She's not so essentially like the musumeyaku lead in that role, I can't remember her name, like basically, the Marchesa de Mertuil, I don't know. The Marchesa is like, okay, well, if you love me, try to seduce her. Like basically, like posts this like challenge to like the lead character and to like go seduce this other woman, and he does, except that she like spoilers ends up dying, I guess. So like because he messes up her life. So it's her. So she had that role in the version that we saw, which was paired with Melodia, the tour version of Melodia, which was really, really, really fun. It was. She came out and she like danced right near us. I think that was one of the reasons why Al kind of fell in love with her, is because she like danced right behind us, like literally. So we had this little like mix up with our tickets in the sense that they had like basically double sold like this row on the balcony. And so when we get there, we go up to the theater and they're like, wait, you have to come over here. We're like, wait, what's happening? What do we do? Because we bought them secondhand. So I was kind of worried that maybe there was some weird like thing that went on, like something shady that went down with our tickets. But it turns out they just double sold this one row somehow. So they had set up these extra like rows of seats on the first floor in between the like main section and then like before this second section that was kind of elevated. So like basically this main aisle, and we were right on the back there, and so all the gens came out for Kyakusekiori during a Melodia, and Yuki was right behind us. And she was like giving us all kinds of like cute little faces and pointing and everything else, and she was so cute. So it was really, really fun. Nice little like Yuki memory.
Lucky.
So
I mean, bad luck with the double booking, but also super lucky.
Yeah, it worked out really well. Right. So
okay, other shows. So the Po Clan, I liked the Po Clan. I thought that was a really good show, like Pono Ichizoku. I've
only seen it once. I saw the DVD. It's a very interesting show. It's not, I don't know. I'm not very into vampires, I suppose. So like for me, like it was fine. It was a nicely done show. But I don't know that it's one that I particularly am especially fond of, I suppose. But aesthetically, it was beautiful. And she looked beautiful. And unfortunately, I can't remember too much about it. But I just remember seeing like a picture of her in that show. I was just like,
yeah. I mean, she looks great in that. But like the one negative thing is that she is in the big stage calendar for this year. And when her month came around, and I looked at the photo, I was just like, I'm sorry, Yuki, I cannot have you there, because like she's got like these contacts in and she does look like she's inhuman. And I'm like, I cannot walk past this every day. So
oh no.
Yeah, so that month didn't happen, basically. So no, we're gonna have Kai-chan for another month. I guess that's what's happening now. But yeah, so that's the only negative. I mean, she's beautiful. It's just like I cannot look at this picture every single day for a month. It's like it's not happening.
Yeah.
I am planning on being in the Mirio episode for her Taidan, so basically I'm going to save all of my Pono Ichizoku comments for that time, because like most of them are Mirio related, so like I'll save it.
That's fair.
Then we have Akane Sasu, like Love Blooms Out on the Murasaki no, and yeah, as I said before, like this is a proper like romantic role for her, but not in the same way that Casanova is. And this was like double cast, but it wasn't simply double cast.
Right.
They did two versions of the same show, and what they did,
it was kind of triple cast.
So Mirio plays like, so there are two lead roles ish, but like they would write it slightly differently. And so when Mirio played the one character, that was the lead role. And when Mirio played the other character, then that was the lead role. So when Mirio played the husband of Yuki, Chinatsu was the brother that was like in love with Yuki and like made her his mistress kind of thing. And in that, at that time, then Yuki is like in love with Mirio and wants to be with Mirio, but kind of like is with a brother as well. Like it's really like I don't quite get exactly how that worked out, but
I don't know. I've only seen it the one time, so.
And then when it's the other cast, when Mirio is the brother and Yuki is married. She is then married to Kare, so like that was the way the switch cast worked out, and then like whoever wasn't one of those two roles would be getting, so either Kare or Chinatsu would be the pure being who is some kind of what do you call it, carpenter, I think. He whittles things, he makes things out of wood.
Right.
So, and is a very pure being in the beginning. And so, I mean, it's slightly different. So the whole point is that Yuki is always, like, wanting to be with Mirio in Akane Sasu.
Right.
So, I mean, it is romantic in that aspect. And it's a really good role, and she gets, like, to grow up. She goes from being a young girl into being, like, a woman. In that show. Yeah, so I mean, it's a good show. I'm happy to watch it, and like it's got really nice moments, and it's like
it's got great music too.
Yeah, but like it's interesting to know that they had stomach flu.
Oh gosh,
during the run of that,
that's right.
And Mirio was actually getting like, what do you call it, like.
The IV?
Yeah, she was getting like shots in between, like was it adrenaline shots or something?
Oh god.
Yeah, between.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
So like that, I mean that was just so bad.
That's terrible.
And they had Kyakuseki as well for Sante that was with that, and they were like, oh, we're not gonna do Kyakuseki because like you'll catch this off of the gens, and we don't want that. So everyone just got really ill.
Yeah.
So
God.
that must have been like a bit of a bad time.
Awful. Yeah, I can't imagine like having to perform like when you're that sick.
Oh, gosh.
Like that's just terrible.
So. Right. Anyway, moving on to Messiah and Beautiful Garden. So Messiah is one of those shows where I have like many small comments to make. It's just like one of the things that I noticed with Messiah, because like, so Kare plays this painter person who is very he's very religious, right? Very into God. And he paints lots of pictures, religious pictures, and like that would make sense, like, because you see his little his studio that's in a cave. And that wouldn't make sense except for the paintings that they've put in there. Yes, they are all like themed off of like religious Christian paintings and things, but they've all been painted by different people. So they're all in different styles, and they're all like, it's very obvious that it's not the same person that has painted all of these pictures. And I'm like, why would you do this? Like, at least make them match in style or something. And I mean, it's not impossible for someone who paints a lot of religious paintings to like paint a still life, or, you know, like there can be like different types of paintings as long as they are in the same style. Like but having lots of paintings of like religious things or religious people, but obviously in different like, it doesn't make sense. Like, oh no. So that just made me like, that pulled me completely out of the story every single time, because I'm just sitting there going like, yeah, those are not his paintings. Like, what? So,
oh my gosh. What I haven't seen Messiah, so like what type of role did Yuki have? Like, honestly, it looked like a weird repeat of Yamataikoku, but slightly different with Jesus.
So she is like this exceptionally pure being who is just goodness personified. She is like Mary Magdalene, essentially, like in terms of her goodness. And she and Mirio fall in love with each other. So Mirio is like this outsider, like kind of piratey type person who gets shipwrecked onto this island, and he gets adopted by the local people. He gets adopted by a local family, and then he meets Yuki and falls in love with her. He meets her in I think he meets her in the cave. Maybe. Yeah. But
in the cave with the paintings that don't make sense.
Yeah. And they fall in love, and she has a very beautiful song where there's like this shutter light, I think it's called, because a friend said that to me. A friend who knows about theatre things said that. So
okay.
But like, it's like this light that is a spotlight, but it's like it's been cut towards the end, so that it's like a path of light that she's walking on, and she has like this amazing solo, and that's the one that was in the Sayonara show, I think.
Okay.
And I mean, it's a sweet enough role, and then I think they all die at the end, except for Kare. Everybody dies, and then Kare is miserable.
Everybody dies. Yes. Spoilers.
Well, I mean, it's Messiah.
It's fine.
Like,
it's true. Everybody should know this already.
And then they go to heaven, and and then Tsukasa, like, when they are in heaven, Tsukasa like looks down at her hands, like,
oh my
what? Like, I mean, it's weird, because like, why would she look at her hands specifically? Like, isn't it the fact that she exists at all that's like, but she's like looking at her hands, like, what are you guys doing here? Like,
what? Why?
So that's interesting. I loved Mirio's hair for that. Like, she looked great with the ponytail. Oh, and the ponytail was Mirio's idea, by the way. Yeah, she was
I thought that was true for Yamataikoku as well.
Yeah.
She was like, let's make this character a little different. Let's put a ponytail in his hair. Yeah. Maybe I'm confusing the two.
I don't know. One time when Mirio had a ponytail, it was her idea.
Yes.
Cool. I really like. I sat through Messiah to watch Beautiful Garden as well, but like, Messiah was fine. It was fine, but I think I prefer Yamataikoku. as a story. But but Shinatsu in Messiah is just like this warlord and looks amazing. So I mean,
I had to think for a moment who Chinatsu was in Yamataikoku. I was like, what? Oh, I just remembered.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
anyways, so Beautiful Garden then was paired with Messiah. Like it's a Noguchi show, and so many people were saying like, I don't know what this is gonna be like, but when I watched it with another friend who's also a huge Hanagumi fan, we were just like, oh my god, this is so Hanagumi. It was oh my god, it was just so amazing. And I watched it once from the 7th row. And
Oh wow.
she probably didn't, but I am pretending that Mirio like threw a kiss at me. Yeah. She totally didn't, but I'm pretending she did. Except she totally did.
Except she did.
Yeah, except she did. Yeah. But yeah. Anywho's, so it's just a really nice like Hanagumi feely vibe. It felt like coming home. That was it. Like if you're a Hanagumi fan, like Beautiful Garden is just like that's gonna be right up your alley. Like there are bits, of course, that are, you know, you'll be like, but then also it's so Hanagumi, so you'll just love it.
Nice.
It's great.
That's good.
Like big shout out to Mighty in that, because in the Chuzume, like they get this like spiral staircase thing, and Mighty goes up in the spiral staircase, and then she kind of, I don't know, slides down it and like does stuff with her hat, and just she sings, and I was looking at her the entire time, every single time I went to see it. And then she is hardly on the Blu-ray or the DVD, and I'm just like, that's such a shame, because that was the spot that's where it should have just been like a, you know, a star angle with Mighty for that moment.
Oh my gosh,
like she was so good.
Who's filming these things?
Right, they're not making the right choices. Yeah. But this is supposed to be about Yuki, so I should mention Yuki in Beautiful Garden. And she had lots of fantastic outfits. There's the really iconic one that has like this poofy skirt that goes out to the side. Like, or to the sides, rather. Like, I don't know what that's called. there is probably like a technical term for that type of dress or that type of skirt, but like that's a really iconic one. And yeah, it was just a good time. I really felt the Hanagumi like vibe, and like just yeah, good times. And
nice.
Then
that's good. I'll have to see it sometime. I can't really contribute more because I haven't seen it.
It's been so long since I've watched it though that I don't remember like more specific details. So that's a bit of a shame. But maybe we can like talk about it during the Mirio episode. Then we have Delight Holiday.
Holiday, which looked like a really fun time.
And like that was great for Yuki. Like she got featured a lot. There was a scene in it. Well, scene. I say scene, but it's like it was a concert. So, but like a part of it where suddenly there's just like a kotatsu on the middle of the stage, and Yuki comes running. So there are like 3 musume. I think it's Shirokimi and Bei-chan. I've forgotten. I'm so sorry. But like 3 like prominent musume are on stage, and they're chatting, and they're like, but where's Yuki? Like she was supposed to be out here with us. And then she comes running and she's like, oh my god, you guys, it's so cold. It's like the middle of winter. We have to make sure that we don't catch colds. And they're like, no, but like we're on stage, we're performing, it's really hot. And she's like, no, like you better put on like these like really heavy duty like, what do they even call it? It's kind of like, they look a bit like a blanket, but it's like a kind kind of sweater as well, but like you put it on
like a snuggie.
Yeah, like a blankety type thing that you wear when you're going to sit down and be warm at your kotatsu.
Does it have sleeves?
Yeah, they do. And then like they had like the names as well on them. She was like, this one is yours and this one is yours, and like she makes them put them on, and they're like, but I'm really hot. She's like, no, it's cold. And then
it's cold.
And then they sit down around this kotatsu, and they have this conversation about like where they should go for their holidays, and yeah, like why they would want to go to different places and stuff. And Yuki like has this bottle of sake that is called Senna, and then she just like cries like Senna, and it's just like really funny. It's just
oh my gosh,
it's a really fun show, and Yuki got to do a lot in it, and
nice.
Yeah, I would recommend that. Like that would be a good purchase, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't buy any DVDs when we were there. I think we were just a little like I don't know, overwhelmed, I suppose. But that came out like while we were there, and it was playing in Casanova, and it just looked so cute. So maybe someday we'll get that.
Yeah.
The little like concert. So yeah. But yeah. I don't know, do you have any other like notable like roles that you wanted to talk about?
No, I feel like I've probably talked too much, but I just
I'm trying to think.
I
know. I just love her. She's so spunky and vibrant and vivacious, and really, really smart actress as well, very thoughtful. I've always really enjoyed like the nuances that she brings to her characters. And of course a really wonderful singer as well.
I'm going to miss her a lot. Like that's not even
a
joke. She's gonna leave a black hole behind her. So she better do some stuff where I can see her, so I can.
I know. Yeah. I hope she does some fun things. Yes. Get an Instagram. It's like the one thing I can hope for when an actress retires. I'm like, where's your Instagram? So we'll keep an eye out for that. Hopefully soon, maybe. So
I think that was there. Oh no, we need to also talk about Hana no Juria, and we've talked about Bei-chan a bit, but Hana no Juria, I felt like we didn't really get to.
Oh no, we didn't. Oh my gosh. She's such an icon because she didn't wear white to either Senshidaku.
Yeah, she wore pink though.
She wore like black and pink in Tokyo and like a pantsuit thing almost. Like she's just like, I do what I want. She's amazing.
And then she wore a pink suit to the Mura.
That's right.
And then she wore pink and black to Tokyo. And like I just
thought that was so great.
I heard from her Mura Taidan speech that she had said, well, I mean, this isn't the actual Taidan, so
this isn't the actual Taidan.
I guess I'll see you in Tokyo.
That was so like funny.
So but then
she's I love that she's like kind of that like subversive like off stage. And she's gotten such like a wide variety of roles, and being like Fukukumicho, like she's been for the past couple of years, she's like been kind of prominent or like had like, you know, kind of the obligatory like Fukukumicho roles or whatnot. There's some that have been quite the range. But she's also a really wonderful singer. She's gorgeous. And I've always enjoyed like seeing her on stage. I loved her, especially in Golden Desert, her kind of like badass like pirate lady, not pirate, but like bandit lady. Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a good look. Just like so good. I love that they kind of let her do those types of like I don't know what the right word for it is, but those types of roles where she's a little more like powerful.
Yeah, and I felt like she has a lot of agency in her.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
just in general.
Not so much in Casanova, but she's like a distinct lack of agency in Casanova. But Her role in Yamataikoku, where she was kind of like the like scheming like priestess, was also really great as well.
She's had a good variety of roles, and I don't know. Like the
Yes.
first Iride photo that I can remember seeing of Hana no Juria is like this. She came in. I think this is a Tokyo photo, and she looks like she is a biker or a rock star or something, just like dressed completely in black leather, and she's just like walking to the theater like nothing, like, and she's just the coolest person in the world, you know, like there's nobody cooler than Hana no Juria, like don't even try. And
no, yeah, she's the coolest person.
And then for her Taidan speech on the Senshuraku in Tokyo, because I watched the Raku live, she was blinking so much, and I thought like, all right, this is when she's emotional, because like she didn't do the emotional thing in Mura, but like now she it's like this is the end, but she didn't cry, but like she blinked a lot. It was she was keeping the tears at bay, but. I cried though. So I cried for her, I guess.
Good. I would cry too.
So yeah, no, I was. That was sad. Like when you go to the cinema and you're like suddenly sitting there crying buckets, and you're like, okay, this is. Okay, but.
I'm gonna miss her. Yeah.
And like I started crying the moment that Bei-chan walked down, like, and stopped halfway down the stairs, and like the spotlight came on her, and that's when I started crying.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I just kept on crying.
Kept going. Yep.
And Mirio was very cute at that time as well. She was trying to like get the focus back on Yuki, like, because Yuki was saying how grateful she was for everything that Mirio has done, and Mirio was like, why are you talking about me? Like, this is about you. Like, don't even look at me. Like, no. And she did that flaily thing again, because she did that in Mura too, where she like flails and goes like, no, this is about you. And Mirio also said like, good luck to Maisora Hitomi. So like she gave a little speech where she was like, we hope that they will take care of you in Hoshigumi, and like that you will be as loved there as you have been here. So like it was very, very sweet. I know that there has been some controversy about Maisora Hitomi, like there have been some rumors. I do not know where those rumors came from, and they won't affect any one of us. Maisora Hitomi is an amazing actress, an amazing singer, an amazing dancer. And I think that she is going to be a very good match for Koto. Like, she is going to emphasize all of the things that Koto needs to have emphasized. So I'm looking forward to seeing them together. I think that it's like, from my, like, I hope that they will get along very well. Like, I'm thinking that they have all of the things that they will need to be an amazing top combi. Like, and that's what I have to say about that. So I'm looking forward to seeing Maisora Hitomi there. Hoshigumi fans, you're very lucky. I think this is going to be very good.
Yes.
So
you're lucky, and we're very sad because Yuki's gone.
Well, I mean, like we're losing so many people, so it's like okay. Yes.
It'll be, like I said, it'll be interesting. So, anyway, this is gone on quite a long time. Sorry. So,
we're gonna stop it here.
Yes, I think we should. We're gonna wrap it up. So in closing, Casanova is amazing. Everybody should see it. It's a jam. Buy the soundtrack, buy the DVD. Please watch it. It's wonderful for everybody, but especially really nice send-off for Yuki. And I really, really hope she does some fun stuff in the future. And it'll be
please,
sad to lose her, but excited to see what happens next.
Yeah. So please watch
this show and all of the other Yuki stuff, and then tell us what you think about it, and tell us if we missed anything, like if there's like any Yuki gems that we've missed out on. I'm sure other people would love to be able to read about that in the comments and stuff. So feel free to
tell us any memories you have of Yuki or any of our other Taidansha as well.
Yeah, that would be great.
So,
all right. Well, thank you very much, Heidi. This was like a really nice 3-hour chat.
If anyone made it this far, thank you for listening to us chat, I suppose. So, and I don't know what we're gonna do for our next one. Someone will come up with an idea. I think we've been trying to. We have a few ideas, and I think we've been trying to get people to line up, and just like schedules just haven't really worked out. So we've been a little sporadic with episodes lately, but we'll try to be a little better.
I need to talk about Gunther with someone though. So that's.
Oh, you know what? I'll get the DVD and we'll watch it, and then we'll have another 3-hour conversation about it.
Cool. We'll see you then.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, thank you guys so much for listening. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Many thanks to Michael B. and the Arcanum String Quartet for their wonderful arrangement of Sumire no Hana Sakugoro. And thank you, listeners, for enjoying our podcast.